What is good, everybody, man? Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. I guess I'm a little bit late on the news, man, but I was in Jackson this weekend for the SWAC championship, drove back late last night, and really wanted to kind of get some information together before I came on here and really spoke about this. But it was no surprise to everyone. The report dropped Friday night from Pete Thamel that Coach Prime was headed to Colorado to be the next head coach of the Buffs. But it's I mean, I get why Jackson State fans, this is a bittersweet moment, but we're really going to look at it from not only the Jackson State perspective, but also the Colorado perspective. And, tonight, I'm not going to talk anything about the SWAC championship on this live. This is just about Prime to Colorado. The call in number's there. I want to get you y'all's thoughts on the move 701-779-9585. And tonight, I'll be back again live at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. We'll recap the SWAC championship, the second round of the FCS playoffs, and we'll get back to talking some X's and O's. But this is strictly going to be just about Deion Sanders to Colorado. His introductory press conference is about to wrap up. He introduced Shador as as the new Colorado starting quarterback, and reiterated that he's going to have to earn it. But with Colorado's most recent starting quarterback just entering the transfer portal, I don't think it's any question that Shador Sanders is going to be the next starting quarterback at Colorado next year. And we're probably going to see multiple guys. He's already had a 5-star in the class of 2025 commit today, and it's looking very, very likely that Colorado is going to have a really good shot at landing 5-star wide receiver. I forget his first name, but it's Ennis. He was the one in the report on Friday on 247 Sports that said Coach Prime has been recruiting him to Colorado since he formally accepted the job a few weeks ago. So lots of news here. But Mr. Ford has already called in, man. So let me get to him. But you guys can call in whenever 701-779-9585. Mr. Ford, you're live.
Hey, hold on 1 minute. I'm gonna do it. Hold on 1 second. Blue, I'm gonna do it a little different tonight, man. I want to hear your expertise. Okay, let me say this. I've been saying something wrong on the air here. I don't know if I said it on your show. I've been saying that Colorado has been a loser for 30 years. That's not right. Colorado has been a loser since 2006. The person who helped destroy Colorado's program was a guy named Dan Hawkins. You remember that name?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Dan Hawkins came down from Boise State. They've been a loser ever since. They've gone through a number of coaches. Let me just say this first of all. I think that Coach Prime going to Colorado is going to be a failure. But what I want to do, this is the question I got for you. What do you think that Deion would do in Boulder? My thing is he's not going to do anything for that program. He's not going to succeed in Boulder. Now I want to know what you think about that.
I'm never gonna say a coach can never succeed because you never know, man. All it takes is with USC and UCLA leaving, your biggest comp
Mm-hmm.
is Utah and Oregon. Oregon's still got a first year head coach. He did amazing this year, but they're losing a lot of their top talent over the next 2 years. So I really want to see how Lanning recruits. And on top of that, Utah's been a solid contender, but there's really not an obvious third choice. So you're looking at him potentially competing year in and year out for the Pac-12 championship. It just I think it depends on what you consider success. Do I think he's going to go win a natty? That's a stretch. But do I think he can win the Pac-12 in 2 or 3 years? I think that's absolutely doable.
Okay. Somebody had in there said, Mr. Ford, how do you know that? First of all, I don't think they're going to be patient with him. I think he's going to get less time than Charlie Strong got at Texas. I think he'll get less time than Tyrone Willingham got at Notre Dame. But let me go on. My next one. Now, this is hypothetical. Blue, where do you see Shadua going in the draft? Do you see him being first round? Do you see him being fourth round, fifth round, or sixth round? Where do you see him at?
It'll all depend on next year. All of it. He's put together some of the best film you could have his 2 years
Mm-hmm.
at Jack State as a young player. Because I mean, listen, he was still a freshman and a sophomore. His junior year film in the Pac-12 where you can compare him to Caleb Williams. You can compare him to whoever takes over for Bo Nix at Oregon. You can compare him to Cam Rising at Utah. You can compare him to possibly Ty Thompson, who's been rumored to be transferring to Arizona State, a former 5-star. You can compare him to whoever's starting next year at quarterback at UCLA. Seeing him on that same level, if he goes out there and you also compare him to Cameron Ward, the transfer from Incarnate Word, who's up there Washington State doing his thing. If he's performing up to the level of what a top level Pac-12 Power 5 quarterback can do, man, first, second rounds obviously in play. But if he goes up there and struggles, then you're looking at he took a big risk, because if you struggle on the P5 level, they're going to just discredit everything he did in the SWAC, and then his draft stock's going to tank. I think next year, his junior year, is going to tell you everything you need to know about where he's going to potentially place in the NFL draft.
Now listen, Blue, I guess me and you gonna differ on this. Now, Shador is better than Bo Nix. He's better than Bo Nix.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Bo Nix took a huge jump this year, and we'll see, because I mean, Bo Nix was putting up positive numbers before he was hurt this year, but I think Shador as a sophomore is better than Bo Nix was as a sophomore. I'll give you that.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Blue, if you were the AD at Jackson State, who is your choice to replace Deion Sanders?
So I was told, because I was at the game yesterday on the sidelines, and I talked to a few people in the know, and I kind of got some names on the short list. I can't drop them all. I was asked not to, so I won't do that. But I really do think they're going to take a strong look at Willie Taggart. Now, you can debate on, how good of a coach he really is, but I still think he's not a bad option. I do think they're going to make a strong run at Mike Minter. I really do think they're going to make a strong run at Mike Minter. And
listen, I think that Willie is better than Mike Minter. I'm sorry. Now, I like Mike Minter as a defensive guy. Willie comes under that Harbaugh tree. Their daddy coached him up at Western Kentucky. That would be a good move. I hadn't even thought about that. Would be a good move. Willie can do some things. See, Willie can recruit the country. He can do California and he can do Florida.
Yeah. And another name that I would consider, I haven't heard anything about him, is I don't know why they wouldn't reach out to Kevin Sumlin.
Okay.
He's got Southern ties. He's not doing anything really right now. I mean, why not just see if he would at least take your call? I mean, in my opinion, you have nothing to lose. You take your shot and you see what happens. The worst thing he could do is say no.
Right. I'm gonna kind of wonder a little bit right here. This is my next one. It says, Blue, is Dooley a championship coach? Because I'm about through with them down there, and I'll tell you why in a minute. What's your thoughts on Dooley? Is he a champion? Can Dooley win the SWAC?
Without Jackson State there, maybe. I'll say this. I'm not going to get too much into it. I'm going to have a whole live stream about the SWAC championship tonight. But the indictment that is watching that offense, the potential of that offense with a quarterback change makes me absolutely sick. I was talking to BJ Jones on the sideline yesterday. They easily could have been 8-3 if they start that kid all season.
Listen, all I said to the people I watched the game with, somebody got to be called on the carpet. Either that boy, I'm not the boy, but the guy that's the quarterback coach or Dooley got to answer for why did this guy, Bubba McDaniel, sit on the bench the whole season. Somebody got to answer for that. Somebody, and I'm telling you right now, the only person that can clean that thing up down at Southern is that Roman Banks, because I'm telling you, Dooley has an offensive coordinator's mentality. He is not a head coach. If I had a choice between Dooley and Dawson Odoms, give me Dawson Odoms. I saw it yesterday. Give me Dawson Odoms. Because, listen, if you didn't look at the record of Southern, you would say, for me, they look like a 5-5 team, a 6-5 team, just a mediocre team. But they're a team filled with playmakers, difference makers, good athletes, but the worst coaching in the conference. Thank you, Blue, for having me, and y'all have a good evening.
Appreciate you, Mr.
Blue,
Ford.
do you have any questions? You have a
No,
question?
tonight will probably be the show you got to call in on because we're going to talk
Oh,
all about the
oh,
SWAC championship tonight.
okay. What time you coming on tonight?
8:30.
Okay. All right. I'll see you then.
Appreciate you.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna go 1112 and then 4843. 1112. You're live.
Blue, what's
One
going on?
one
How you
one.
doing?
Oh, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Yeah, I just wanted to speak on the Coach Prime situation. Okay, I just had two things to say. I really don't have a question, but just two statements. Okay, last year the FCS Defensive Player of the Year, Isaiah Land. Okay, I don't know if you remember this or not, but last year he was entertaining the transfer portal, and he was actually considering your school, Auburn. You remember that, right?
Yeah, he had offers from Georgia, Auburn, LSU. I mean, all kind of P5 programs.
Yeah, but I know Auburn was one of his top choices. He was considering, but anywho, and I remember Coach Prime. He retweeted that or something like that, but he went on Twitter and basically said, "This is wrong. You don't feel you can go pro this, that, and the third." And I'm like, and I'm a Jackson State fan, man. I love Jackson State, and I was like, I'm not even being biased, but at the time, I was like, damn, this man's decision. If he feel like he got to go to another school to go pro, that's his decision. Thank God he did stay at FAMU, but you basically trying to tell this man what's not to do, and you basically went back and doing the same thing, And another thing, Shamar Stewart, the big five-star recruit from the 2022 class of last year. You familiar with him, right?
Yeah.
Shamar Stewart? Yeah. Okay. So Coach Prime, I know you remember this situation. He went on Twitter and pretty much said, hey, it should have been Jackson State. He put his top 3, top 5, whatever it was, school. And he was like, hey, it should have been Jackson State. And he went back and deleted the comment. So it basically you preaching and telling these kids to not to go to a PWI, choose HBCU, but the next year, the following year, you go back and do the same thing, bro. That's the thing that gets me. Like, that's what I'm saying, bro. If he just would have got hired on and just won the games and just did good recruiting and everything that a head coach is supposed to do, cool. I wouldn't feel so bad about him leaving because I know it's the business. I know what come with it. But when you go out here on the podium and preach, about equality and leveling the playing field and this, that, and a third, like, bruh, come on, bruh. You fed us a bunch of lies, homie. I can't ride with that, man. I can't. I know it's all business, but don't go and tell kids one thing and you a grown man and go back and do another thing. So, yeah, man, that's all I have to say on this situation.
Hey, man. I appreciate you calling in,
Yeah.
man. That's what the call line's for. You got to get your thoughts out, but appreciate you calling in.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Bye.
4843. You're live.
Hey, Blue.
What's good?
Given that Coach Prime has went to Colorado, like I looked at their roster last night. It's basically Jackson State his first year. Like, who do you see, like, outside of Jackson State? Players do you see Deion reaching out to, like somebody like an Adrian Maddox, a Jerrion Howard? You know what I'm saying? Some people like that, because basically Colorado has nothing.
I think he's going to go national with it. So just if you guys remember on this show, I was really, really praising Andrew Armstrong from Texas A&M Commerce, the wide receiver over there who put up like 1,300 yards in his first year starting, led the country in touchdowns at one point. He already got an offer from Colorado today, and he has a bunch of P5 offers, and now there's a real conversation about him going there. He's 6'6", 190, and can stretch the field with like 4.4 speed. He's a dog. And I think he's just going to go national. I think he can go out there and recruit. And then also on this slide, I'm about to go into all the facts. he actually went and hired a defensive analyst from A&M to be the D-line coach at Colorado, who was a key part in recruiting a bunch of those 5-stars that went to A&M this past year. So I expect him to make a strong run at a lot of those A&M transfers.
Yes, like that would be actually crazy because my thing is it's like Colorado basically has no one. Like Shador be like the best quarterback ever, and I just wanted to know like receivers that are in the SWAC, like who do you see making that jump to Colorado to play with Shador that basically didn't have a quarterback? You know what I'm saying this year?
I mean, I can't say. I mean, who's on the portal now? You got Ibrahim from Alabama A&M. You got Shareed isn't going to transfer, I don't think. X is a senior. Rash hasn't transferred. A lot of the top receivers are either seniors or are graduating. So I don't see anyone like jumping to go with Prime. And I really do think this. There's been a lot of talk about Prime taking Willie Simmons and Dooley, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I really think if he doesn't take the coach with him, he's not going to go rob some of these guys he has relationships with. I really don't. I cannot see him going to recruit any FAMU players away. I can't see him recruiting any Valley players away. There may be some who are already in the portal now or have already announced they're going to transfer, but I don't think he's going to try to undermine any of the coaches in the SWAC by just like picking them apart. Maybe Eddie Robinson just because of the beef they have, but I don't see him trying to undercut any of the other head coaches in the SWAC because he's got good relationships with most of them, especially Willie and Dancy.
Yeah, okay. My last question is, who is going to be the defensive coordinator? Is it going to be Mike Zimber or is it going to be Dennis Thurman?
It was probably going to, I would say Thurman. Zimmer, his role for Jackson State has kind of been overblown. He's not even on campus. He was chilling at his house analyzing film. I don't know if I don't know if he's ready to get back on the field. I don't know if Colorado's a big enough job to get him out there and want to be on the field and be in a more full-time role. But if I had to bet, I would say Thurman's probably the odds-on favorite to be the DC. And I'm assuming that announcement's probably coming sooner rather than later.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to know. I
Hey,
enjoy your show though.
hey, appreciate you, man.
All right.
All right, Sean, hang on. I saw you post your number in the chat, man. Since you remember, I'm gonna get to you. 7981. All right, Sean, you're live.
What's going on, Blue? How you doing?
What's good, man?
Not much. Hold on. I thought I'd put this on mute. Yeah, I did. All right. So you had mentioned something that was very important, and that had everything to do with like recruiting. And like you, I've been noticing because me and my friends are talking about it. Like there's a trending thing that's going on right now, and you could tell that they're busy recruiting. All of these new offers are coming up, and people are reopening their recruitment. You had mentioned the 5-star receivers and stuff like that, right? Do you see, because I wanted to ask you this the other day, but I was talking to my cousin, Corey, who's at LSU. He's the recruiting coordinator for LSU. He said that the best FCS player, the number one player in the portal, was a tight end, but I forget the name of the school. It's like Schroeder or something like that.
The best player from FCS?
Yeah, he says the best.
I'm trying to think because
he
there's
said
a kid.
The number one person in the portal was a tight end.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to pull it up and see if I can find it while you talk because I know there's a kid from UC Davis who was he was a freshman All-American at tight end, and he was a true freshman. Oh, he's not even from FCS. You're talking about the tight end from D2 from Shorter, right?
There you go.
Kyle
yes.
Morlock, yeah, because Auburn just offered him. Auburn's making a strong push for him. He's a monster, bro. He's 6'7", 250, and has the ability to stretch the field at tight end.
Yeah, so that's what my cousin was telling me. But yeah, he said Schroeder, but I didn't know if it was I didn't know if it was FCS or if it was D2. So you just cleared that up for me. So here's my question to you, because I wanted to ask you this. Now that Prime is gone to Colorado, and we see the immediate impact that he's having um, on the recruiting trail in Boulder, those people are going freaking nuts, right? Um, do you see or foresee for like the FCS, like some major players in the top echelon players hitting the portal to try to join and be a part of that team?
There's potential. I mean, it kind of happened at Jackson to a point too. There were a few players who I think knew exactly where they were
Mhm.
going to go. It's all going to come down to I what I can tell you is the best way to follow who potentially are some players he's going to target is look at who he hires. Any outside hires for him are probably going to be strategic recruiting moves because you know this better than anyone, man, because you've been following college football. You hire your staff to mask your weaknesses as a head coach. So he's looking for people to
Mhm.
recruit in certain areas of the country, have connections with certain recruits, certain pipelines. And so I think you could tell a lot about who he's going to go after based on who he hires as his assistants. Like the guy he hired today, the defensive analyst from A&M. He has a lot of ties with a lot of those A&M transfers. He was the lead recruiter for Keely Ringo and a bunch of those 5 stars at Georgia when he was there. He wants someone that has connections to high level talent like that and has a proven track record of recruiting at that high level. So I would imagine that as we get more hires down the stretch, you can kind of point out about where he's looking in the in terms of the recruiting trail and also the transfer portal.
So that would mean that he's also looking to poach from Georgia, because Georgia's on the hook.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean, George is
he's
also
got
in college football today. If you can't recruit Florida, Georgia, Texas, and California, you can't win. Those
gotcha.
states are too
Yep.
loaded, way too loaded not to recruit out of those states.
Well, I want to say this, man, and I'm gonna let you get to the other callers. JSU, like I've been saying on other streams, you still have the best dope on the block, and that will always sell itself. You just have to hold your head, keep steady. This next hire is key. I'm like Blue. I'm mentor all day. I think that energy and excitement. I think that was a job interview for mentor to me. The way that it looked, the way that he talked and carried himself between conversations, his press conference. Go back and look at it. He says things like Prime showed him a good time at JSU. He never really got to see this, that, and the third. I think that guy, in my opinion, is one of the hottest. Now I know it's not my decision to make. AD Robinson has big shoes to fill coming behind Prime, but you get somebody to stabilize it, and I guarantee you they're going to come in and continue that success. So
That
you still got the best dope on the block. Don't get caught up in the emotions of what a coach said or anything like that, and just step back, because even though you know it's about a bag, or you hear him say it's not about a bag, it's more about the opportunity. Remember, Jackson State was an opportunity as well. It wasn't about a bag. So you take your lumps. This has never happened to HBCUs before, where the coaches were coveted as much as he was. It was bound to happen. He gave you 2.5 good seasons. Do not get in your feelings. Embrace the moment. You still have a celebration bowl to go win, and keep the best dope on the block. That's it.
hey man.
All right, bro.
Hey, great call, man. Appreciate you calling in, man. Let's see. 0284. You're live.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's good?
I think this is actually a great job for Deion. Um, when you're 1-11, Deion has to leverage. So he basically put out a checklist. I want this, that, and the other. I want full control. I want a la carte. He could basically, like when you haven't won that much in years, and Deion is basically the hottest coach out, it's all about leverage. And Colorado was willing to give him everything he wanted. So to me, it's a great, and somebody like him who could recruit nationally. I think they'll do well. And in recruiting, no, every player for the most part goes to they have some relationship with the coach. So if coaches leave all the time, so you have to be able to absorb and handle that. But he did put he left Jackson State better than he came, and that's all you can ask for any coach really is to leave it better than you can. But I think they'll do well. I think they'll be a bowl team, which is like six wins. I think if they get to 6 wins, that's a win in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, I put like I'm about to go through this. I've got 2 more callers, and then I'm gonna go through, open back up the call line. But if I'm not mistaken, Colorado hasn't won a bowl game since I think 04.
When's the last time they've been to?
2020. They went to the Alamo Bowl and
Okay.
lost to Texas.
Okay. So at least, but yeah, I mean, I think that they get 6 wins. But you're right, the talent that they're gonna have, I mean, it's gonna be easy to get people to recruit. I mean, Deion's like a magnet, and I mean, I think he'll do well.
Hey, I agree, man. Hey, appreciate you calling in, though.
Appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna go. Let's see, 0502, then 2938, then 1112 again. 0502, you're live.
Hold on, let me call my you pause one. Oh my goodness, I get to talk to the famous Blue. What up, Blue?
What's good, man?
This is Reggie from 35 Sports. I follow you a lot on Twitter, and you and Scotty. Man, I think Deion was a good hire. I'm in my feelings because I'm a Mississippi guy. I cover a lot of Mississippi sports. And, he did a lot for JSU, and people only can be happy. So I was going to ask you, Blue, who do you think will make a good replacement for him? Because someone said the guy from Lane College, I forget his name. They said he may be a good hire. I don't know. Are they even offering Dancy or TC at the job, as far as you know?
I would be very, very surprised if TC didn't get an interview. But, I mean, he's been around JSU for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if he was considered. But I still think you probably need to go out and try to get a little bit more of a splash hire. I still, like I talked with Mr. Ford earlier, I think Willie Taggart's going to be on the table, Mike Minter. And if I got to pick one, I haven't heard any rumors about him, so this is just me speculating. I don't see why you wouldn't call Kevin Sumlin and just see if he was interested. I mean, he might not be, but it's better to ask, and you might hit on something, and he might want to come out and be the head coach of Jackson State. And I mean, in terms of historical success, then that's probably one of the most successful coaches in the SWAC right now historically in his career. He's coached at the highest level. He's won with Johnny Manziel and them and competed in the SEC. So I don't know why you wouldn't take a shot at him. But I think TC will get the interview, but we'll see on Dancy. I mean, because there's still a lot of rumors that Dancy could be looking for another opportunity. But if Dancy gets the offer, he'd be insane not to take it, because I think Dancy's a hell of a coach. I'm sorry, I don't think there's a single coach in the country that can go win at Valley right now in that situation. And I think he needs a better opportunity.
I agree with you there. I thought my boy Jeremy, he goes to Valley, and he was like, Reggie, I mean, just from me to you, but he's like, it's rough up there. And he's alumni from there, and I mean, he said they can't get no help. That he don't see no funding from places like Rice, and if Rice is giving the money, where is it going? Deion even went up there and said, "How do y'all, y'all need to help this man." So I think, I was gonna run this by you, Blue. You remember Ray and Ed was looking for a head coaching job. You think that would be a good hire, a good splash, in your own opinion?
I think Ray will probably be more likely because if I'm not mistaken, Ed's still hooked up in Miami, and he's making if I'm not mistaken, he's making a pretty nice bag at Miami for what he's doing. What, the director of player personnel or something. So I
Yeah,
think,
that is right.
excuse me, I think Ray would be more likely. It's another big risk, but I mean, it'd be a splash higher. And man, you want to talk about some of the best motivational speeches before a game? Jesus Christ, man, he would have me ready to run through a wall on YouTube before the game. So, I mean, I just don't know what Ray's real interest is, because it's really different saying I would consider a job and I would consider being a head coach somewhere and actually doing it and having that responsibility and having to like actually commit to that. So the only hesitancy for me with Ray would be is he actually committed to being a head coach, or is he just trying to explore the possibility? That'd be my big question.
Right. And what about Herm Edwards? Is he still out there?
I don't know what Herm's doing off the top of my head. Okay. The only thing with Herm is he just got fired from Arizona State, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a bunch of NCAA penalties coming down the pipeline for what happened to Arizona State, and those follow the coach. So if he took the job at Jackson State could face ramifications on punishments that have to follow Herm. So that would probably be the holdup there. Is I don't think Jackson State wants to deal with the fallback of what's happening there, because everybody at Arizona State is going to get hit with some sort of penalty for what they were doing over at Arizona State.
Right. Well, good talking to you, Blue. Finally got to talk to the infamous dictionary as Scotty always says.
Hey, appreciate you, man.
But I appreciate you. Thank you, Blue.
I don't know if he got his show calls, but I do know they are going to have penalties because I don't remember all the lists, but I know one of the things they were doing is they were bringing kids on illegal visits during COVID and hosting them in like boxes, trying to hide it from the NCAA and all kind of different recruiting violations. So I don't know if he's going to get a show like a show calls, but he's going to get he's going to get some sort of punishment. 2938, you're live.
Yes, sir. Blue, how you doing today, man?
What's good?
Good. Quick question. I really don't know what I'm asking. Will Shador play quarterback for the Celebration Bowl? If you in the portal start tomorrow, would it be able to play for the Celebration Bowl?
If he enters the portal, he can't. But what I'm assuming is going to happen, because the only players who need to enter the portal early are the ones who have to go find their spot. Shador knows where he's going. So what's going to happen is he's going to play in the Celebration Bowl, and then he's going to transfer the day after, and then he's going to commit to Colorado the same day. It's not like a random player who has to enter the transfer portal, get offers, promote themselves, take visits. Like, Shador knows where he's going. So there's no time crunch to enter the portal and explore your options. He knows where he's going. He'll play in the Celebration Bowl, and then him and Prime will be off to Colorado.
I got you. I sure appreciate that.
Hey, appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
5404, you're live. 5404, you're live.
All right, good stuff. Hey, man, listen, first off, congratulations to Coach Prime. If you look at it, there's a very large dynamic of what he was able to do and transform within Mississippi, HBCU game day coming down for the first time, turning the entire program around, bringing national syndicated attention to where they are. And good. I like to focus the minds of those who don't necessarily understand job growth and promotion. Everywhere you go, everybody wants to get promoted. Everybody wants to get recognized for what you've done, and ultimately get offered an opportunity to do better and be able to affect change at the next level. And that's what we see here in Coach Prime. What are your thoughts now about, unfortunately, the people who don't necessarily understand it and who are, in a sense, selfish, that just want it their way, that would potentially think that he traded or left Mississippi just for money or just for a bag, if that makes sense.
It's tough because I can't speak to one side of the argument for obvious reasons. So for me, looking at it from my perspective, is yes, Prime has money and he's made a big living, but I don't care how rich you are, bro. 30 million is 30 million. Like I don't think people understand that. Is that it? I mean, he's got plenty of money for himself, but I mean, you're talking about adding millions, millions to not just his wealth, but his children's wealth and their children's wealth. I mean, it's it's a weird conversation surrounding the money thing. Is like, yes, doesn't he doesn't need it, but no one in the chat's turning down 30 mil for anything. I mean, they can say what they want, but
Right.
I know for a fact, and there's a lot of people in the chat and people I know that would do a lot of things for a lot less than 30 million. And I think you agree with me on that. And I don't think you can judge from an outside perspective on what the only people who really know why he took the job are him and his family, man. I mean, at the end of the day, because all we're gonna hear is secondhand on on what the situation is, and there's only so many things that you could say. So regardless if you left for a bag or not, bro, it's life changing money and it's a life changing opportunity because I don't know. Did you watch his press conference today for the Colorado job?
Yeah, I just got off of it.
Yeah, I mean, he did make a good point. I mean, the has there been a Power 5 job outside of Colorado who has hired 2 consecutive African American coaches?
No.
I mean, it's a huge deal, and I mean, I think he spun it in a way that I understand why he took it, but I just think there's some people out there who aren't, um they're not gonna understand because they see it from one way and they see it in a different way than me, and that's fine, but I understand why he did it, and I don't think you can hold it
Yeah,
against him.
absolutely. And there's several other things that he mentioned consecutively, like he mentioned it in one or two other interviews as well. That the city has zero crime, right? Like you don't necessarily have to worry about coming to a game and having issues. On Friday, one of the Jackson State students was found inside of a Charger, shot dead on the campus. So you have that. You have the mayor and the governor, which he called out, and just to get the damn water straight, there have been birthing issues about how they house the kids and what they're going to do to make sure that the parents that sent their kids to the school were going to have livable conditions. And these are all of the things that he has had to fight with over the course of the last 2.5 years, on top of a strained budget for recruiting and on top of a strained budget for his assistant coaches, which is something that he's also kind of made aware and made note of, that he wanted to make sure that he's not just looking out for himself, but he's looking out for his staff and those who have come along and have been faithful with him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that. I mean, listen, I thought it was very I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I really didn't agree with him saying that in the press conference. I'm completely honest with you. Regardless of how you feel about the situation, man, that bro, you you can't say that because listen, man, I graduated from Auburn, and after one of the football games, I don't remember which game it was, bro. There was a like my apartment, the back of my apartment backed up to a McDonald's on what street was it? I think it's College Avenue. Bro, there was a dead body found the night after the game, just sitting in the McDonald's parking lot, bro. And so it happens at every campus everywhere, man. That's what happens when you get thousands of people in one location. There's alcohol involved and everything, crime everywhere. I don't think it was a fair. I don't think it was a fair comment on Jack because it almost was like a shot. You know what I mean? It was just like an unnecessary shot, man. Like you could just say why you took the job and and talk about how great Boulder is without talking back down on Jackson, man. Because yes, the crime rate might be high, but man, there's crimes on every college campus. I mean, what? How many people just got got? I don't remember exactly what happened, but the Virginia situation. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I thought it was I
yeah,
thought it was a low blow and it was unnecessary. That's just my opinion. Maybe people will disagree, but I felt like it was an unnecessary parting shot, especially with all the drama that already went down with um how he left. You know what I mean? That I don't know how you feel, but
right.
that's how I feel personally
But I
about it.
don't think that he did it maliciously. I think that that was just something that's on his heart. Remember when HBCU game day was there and he went public and went live and asked them, hey, can we not have any killing for the entire weekend so that nothing overshadows um the legacy of the moment and things like that. But it's it kind of touches. I don't know if yeah, I don't think that it was done with the intent to kind of throw a shot at Jackson or throw a shot at the university, but it was just something that's on his heart. And if you've watched his journey socially, then you notice that whatever's on his heart will spill out of his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, he might not have meant it like that. I'm just talking about how it came off, in my opinion. Because I mean,
Yeah,
I was listening to the press conference, kind of just in my headphones while I was getting ready for the show, and it like made me stop, and I was like, wait, what? Did he like really say that? And I'm not from Jackson, and there's people in the chat that are. Uh, I got a feeling that if I took it like that, the people who are from and live in Jackson would be pissed.
yeah, I get it.
But man, hey, I appreciate you calling in, man. Love the conversation. But appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Keep doing what you're doing.
One, you're live.
Yeah, Blue, I'm calling again. I don't want to hog up the line, but yeah, the previous caller you just got off the phone with. Okay, he said Prime, one reason he did choose to go over to Colorado was for his the pay for the assistant coaches. That's kept Blue, and you know that's kept. Okay, if it was really about his assistant coaches, you see everybody not coming with him, right? Who did he recommend to be the head coach?
TC Taylor.
CT, exactly. So what they tell you, right now he don't got a job. At least he might be the interim coach, something like that for now. What about Coach Fleet? Is he coming to Colorado with him? Nope, he wasn't
I
on the
heard he
plan.
might. I heard he might. I don't know who
Yeah,
all he's taking
might.
with him. I don't know who all he's taking
Yeah,
with him, but I think that's something I have heard from a lot of Jackson State fans is that if you're not taking a majority of the staff, then that was just an excuse for you to take job offers. And I get it. I get why people are upset about it, but you know, I think I just think he was looking for a justification when he didn't need one, man. All he had to say is, man, college football is a
exactly.
business. I want to elevate my career, and I'm gonna take a job offer. You don't have to come up with reasons to justify you doing what every other coach in America does.
Thank you. Exactly. And let me tell you something else that really didn't sit right with me. Okay, the video that Deion Jr. had posted, when Deion let everyone know he was accepting the job at Colorado. Okay, he brought it up about the transfer portal. He like, hey, the grass ain't always green on the other side. He basically was trying to advocate for his current players at Jackson State for some of them to stay there. Cause basically, just like some of the head coaches ain't going to Colorado with him to get none of that money, he basically tell them, y'all ain't going to Colorado with me. That's what he basically telling the player. He telling the player, the transfer portal can be like a graveyard. Okay, Blue, tell me this. Tell me what you think. Do you think he told Trevor Hunter the transfer portal could be a graveyard? Do you think he told Kevin Coleman the transfer portal can be a graveyard and the grass ain't always green on the other side? Do you think he told Cameron Craig that the transfer portal is a graveyard? Nah, cause they going with him. I know those 3 players for sure going with him. Of course, Shador going.
Well, that's because listen, we got to keep it. I think I was following you for a bit, but you can't be mad at Prime for keeping it real. Like, listen, there's some players on Jackson State who aren't Pac-12 players. Bro, you cannot just come with me because you played for me at Jackson State. We're competing for a Pac-12 championship now. If you aren't on that level, I'm gonna be real with you and say you're not on that level. And you got to be okay with that. Listen, like I said, this is a business, and I understand why he took the job. As a player, this is a business now. Coaches get fired and hired based on wins and losses. If you're not going to help me win at Colorado, then don't come with me. You can't come with me. I cannot take my feelings as you as a person and bring you with me and take losses because we're cool. So I don't mind him telling some players that, listen, man, you just ain't cut out for the Pac-12. Stay in the SWAC, ball out, and do your thing, but you're not coming with me to Colorado. And I think that's okay. But I do want to tell you, man, before I let you go, that someone in the chat said that Coach Hart and Coach Mathis were introduced today in Boulder as well as new assistant coaches. So he did at least bring those 2 guys with him today.
We already knew that. That's nothing new. They was on the jet with him on the video. We knew that last night. There's no surprise. We already know that.
Hey man, we're gonna see who he hires, man. But hey, I appreciate you calling in again, man.
I have one more thing, Blue.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. The thing about man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Another thing that didn't really sit right with me was he basically recommended CT Taylor to be the head coach. Like, okay, you demoted this man from being the OC. Like, how you gonna advocate for somebody to be the head coach when you demoted the man from being the OC? You brought in another man to be the OC. Like, how you gonna ever? And you don't even know if Ashley Robinson even wanted that news or his business to even get out of his potential hire. He probably ain't. Now you putting more pressure on AD Ashley Robinson to, like, man, he put that out. Maybe I need to go ahead and hire him. You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't even put that out there. But you shouldn't advocate. If you felt this man wasn't good enough to be your OC, you straight up demoted the man. And cool. If you think he wasn't good enough to be OC, cool. But don't try to advocate for nobody to be an OC. To be a head coach when he wasn't even good enough to be your OC. Bro, get out of here with that. Come on, bro. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that, Blue. I appreciate it.
Hey, appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. If you're on the call line, just hang tight. I'm gonna get to everyone, man. I got time, so just hang on the call line until I get to you. 2111, you're live.
Hey, Blue, how you doing?
How you doing?
Okay, I'll turn my TV down. Do I have an echo?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I've been sitting here. I'm not a alumni or anything of JSU. My babies go to the other one down UAPB, but I've been since I done got out of my feelings because I was one of the main ones that was upset. I mean, he got out here and so he put 20 on 10. And see, my thing is, if he hadn't got out here and put 20 on 10, I would have been all right. Just be my opinion, and I could be wrong about it, but like I said, I'm sitting back looking at it. Just tell the truth. Your dream job was Arkansas. They interviewed you for Arkansas. They wanted to hire you for Arkansas. But them boosters wasn't going. Why? Because you did not have collegiate experience. They told you to go get some experience and then come back and holler at us. But in the same time in the process, they still had to go with what they were doing to get their coach in there. And you see what they got in Arkansas. I don't know if you keep up with SEC Arkansas or not, but that's just a temporary fix to 26 until his contract, if he can make it to 26, if he don't get fired, because they ain't doing good. You had to get experience. You should just came on in, did your job, quit selling all these damn wolf tickets because he got up here with all of this, that, and the other. I don't know the entails about money because I'm pretty sure I'm like you and everybody else. We didn't heard money was misappropriated. We didn't heard this. I read somewhere one of the players threw a cheer. I done seen so much of it. So, and like you said, none of us know what went on because none of us was there. But my thing is, do I see congratulations for the job in Colorado. Hopefully you get the needed experience to show the boosters here in Arkansas that, hey, I can do this SEC job. You're going to be the first Black coach hired ever for Arkansas, and then you'll be the first Black coach ever hired for SEC. I don't see him staying in Colorado long. I understand why he did it, because you have to step to get where you're going. It ain't right how you did it. I just can't get down with that. You shouldn't have came in there selling wolf tickets, putting 20 on 10. Then nobody asked that man to come in here and we're going to fix the infrastructure. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Okay, people talking about he gave up half his salary. Well, do we actually know exactly how much his salary was? Because from the reports I'm seeing, it was 1.5 million versus the 300,000 people are saying. But that's just hearsay. So my thing is, with me, if you're going to, business is business. I mean, I had to take myself out and I'm like, okay, the news media can't find out the information about what's going on with you unless somebody put it out there. Which one of your flunkies put this out here? I didn't want nobody to know. Come on now, quit lying. How these babies not going to see it? That's all these kids do is walk around with their phones attached to their ear. They can't do nothing without the phones. I didn't want my players. And then what, your pride, or you feel so embarrassed, you're going to walk off when the championship, you wasn't even there, you didn't do any interviews? Man, come on, dude. Come on. Come on, dude. I respect that man game for what he did when he was in the league, but come on, dude, you can do better than this. Just tell the folks the truth. You needed this damn experience so you can get where the hell you wanted to, and it's down here in Arkansas. And Arkansas Razorbacks down there in Little Rock. But I'm going to tell them one thing. It ain't going to be that damn easy because them boosters are not going. Ain't nobody, one big man, ain't nobody bigger than that football team down there in Little Rock. I can tell you that now, them boosters ain't no joke. How I know I live in Arkansas? Right up the street. So, I mean, that's just my opinion on it. Like I said, it's my thoughts. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I just had to sit back and look at this stuff and look at where he came from. And I'm like, wow, really, dude? Now you're trying to talk down on Jackson? Dude, God have a way of why he using them God quotes. God will circle you back around where you got to beg pardon with them folks in Jackson. Because if it wasn't for them folks in Jackson, like you say, I had to pray about it. You didn't pray about them PWIs that you went to and they turned you down, but all of a sudden you had to pray about the Jackson. In my opinion, I'm looking side-eyed at Ashley Robinson also, because I believe he know more than what he's leading on to. But that's just me and my thoughts. Thank you, Blue, for your time. I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for calling in.
All right.
Let's see.
I appreciate it.
0915, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, Blue?
What's good, man?
Hey, man, let me tell you something. We, as real, true Jackson State fans, we saw him when he first came in on the boat. Let me tell you something, Blue. I've been a Jackson State fan ever since back in the day when Jackson State, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss all played on the same day in Memorial Stadium. Jackson State was Jackson State before Deion ever got off the boat. And when he gone, we still gonna be Jackson State. We're gonna be all right. And for him to say God sent him there, and see, you know, if he sent you there to do what you claim he sent you to do, what happened so quick? That's just like you go to church and you see all these preachers and they get up there and they talking about how God sent them somewhere. But if you miss passing that collection plate around, you'll find out how long they're going to stay there. But I wish the man well, and to be honest, I'm glad he gone. I'm glad he gone, Blue. I bought tickets to go see Jackson State, but I never felt like Deion was really in it. His heart wasn't in it. He was there to use Jackson State as a stepping stone. He wanted to be in the limelight and put on this show, but I'm going to tell you something. And you mark my words. He going to get over there at Colorado. He going to find out the grass ain't as green as he thought it was. I'm going to tell you something, man. You can't go into a program that's that far gone and down and go out there and compete with UCLA, USC Trojans, the Oregon Ducks, and Utah. Baby, he just bit off a little more than he can chew. He can say he coming, and that's about all he going to be doing is coming. And I guarantee you, Deion Sanders will not be out there at Colorado no more than 3 or 4 years. That's just like Dan Mullen. He used Mississippi State as a stepping stone. He was up there winning 7, 8 ball games at Mississippi State, and he didn't never have to leave as long as he stayed there. But his heart wasn't in it. He wanted to be down there in Florida. When he jumped up and left to the Florida Gators, and I told my friends, I said, now, when you go to Florida Gators, you have to at least win 10 ball games a season. He didn't do that, and I told my friend, he won't be there 3 years. He'll be gone. Deion Sanders will be out there no more than 4 years max. Mark my word. He can take whoever he want to take with him, and that's fine. Jackson State still going to be Jackson State, and it's still going to be okay.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call, man.
And Blue, you got my number.
Mm-hmm.
Call me back when you get off the phone. I'm going to tell you who I am. I don't want to tell nobody on the air.
All right, hang on 1 second. Let me screenshot your number real quick. I just want to make sure I get it. All right, man. I'll call you after the show.
All right, either text me and I'll tell you.
All right, we'll do, man.
All right.
Now I'm really, really curious. All right, hang on. I'm gonna get to Mr. Campbell, and then we work it through everyone. Mr. Campbell, you're live. I'm looking forward to this one.
Nephew, good afternoon, man. I've been traveling, so I got to see bits and pieces, but I'm going to tell you something. Somebody just sent me the video of Deion talking to the kids from Colorado. So Deion's going to be Deion. But here's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this from a Jacksonian. Of 100 family members who attended Jack State. My grandfather graduated Jack State in 1938. You do not walk out of a place that opened you with open arms with lack of grace and class. For Deion to talk about this Jackson and to say there's no crime in Boulder. Well, I'm going to tell you something. That same crime-ridden city of Jackson, Mississippi helped you get your degree from an HBCU, Talladega. That same crime-ridden city where Jack State is at was the one that gave you a chance to coach a football team to build your resume. That same crime-ridden city that Jackson State plays in put 60,000 people in those stands and gave you a platform to make you look good. So yeah, there might be crime, but there was greatness that you took upon yourself to be a part of. So how about having some grace and saying, thank you, Jackson, for giving me a chance when Florida State, my own alma mater, told me I could be a defensive back coach. Thank you, Jackson State, for when I went up there to Arkansas and they said, hey, Prime, sorry, we just can't hire you right now. How about saying thank you to Jackson for that? Nobody from Jackson is stupid. Everybody knew Deion was leaving. That's part of the game. So for all the real Jackson State folks, they ain't stupid. So that's why the primates, they ain't Jackson. They ain't Jackson State. So don't let those people in the chat that don't know anything about Jackson or Jackson State speak for real Jackson State people. Because Jackson State people are not stupid. They're educated. And they're great fans. But where Deion has played this whole thing is not how you do that. That is not how you do it. And yeah, TTO, yeah, I could be hurt. Because my people who love Jackson State, which you know nothing about, are hurt because how it's looking. Because they supported Deion and they support Jackson State with their money and with their children. So while you all think it's a joke, they don't care about what you think. Because you ain't from Jackson, baby. You got to be from Jackson to understand this. So while you run there in this chat talking, you go worry about your school that nobody knows where you went to yet. But I'm from Jackson. So I see that. So when my mother said, why is Deion going to talk? My mother, who is true blue JSU, her brother, her daddy, her cousins, why is Deion talking about crime? He wasn't talking about crime when he was around there saying who was swag. He wasn't talking about crime when he's making all that money off those commercials using Jackson State's logo. So see, we got to understand, man, there's a way you do things. And one thing about black folks, and Blue, we look at you. Look at how we treat you. Because you treat us with respect. Look at all these HBCU alums. They love your show because you treat us with respect. We didn't ask you to treat us special. We just want to be respected. And that goes for any black man or any white man. So I don't like what Deion did, because Deion could have had the best of both worlds if he would have played this right. Because all Deion said, you know what, Jackson is always going to be my second home. Jackson State gave me my shot. I would not be here right now today at Colorado if it wasn't for Jackson State University, because that's a fact. That, I don't care what nobody else say. If it wasn't for Jackson State, he don't get the Colorado job. So let's acknowledge that, but do not bring up things. Because I'm going to tell you this, now I'm going to keep it real with him. He talking about ain't no crime in Colorado. I know a black young man got his ass choked in Arroyo, Colorado, which is 30 minutes away from Boulder, by the police. See, if you want to go there, I'll go there. So don't tell me that there's some nirvana for crime and no crime. Because black folks catch hell in any city, in any state in America. So be careful when you say that. So I got a problem with that. I got a big problem with that. So, you know, again, Blue, it's about class. It's about showing respect. Because I'm going to say this again. If Deion did not have a degree, Jackson State people made sure he got a degree down at Talladega. Deion did not have a job until Jackson State hired him. Okay? Deion used the whole HBCU apparatus. We're going to change the game. We're going to level the playing field. We're going to jazz and juke and do all that. Couldn't do that at any school. Look at that. You know what's so funny? I'm going to tell you one thing, then I'm going to get off the phone. When Deion walked in, you know, they played that little music. You know, played a little music. It didn't hit the same, Blue. Because you never could copy the original. Didn't even hit the same. I saw him when he played. He tried to, and, you know, and I'm not being funny. It's a different crowd of them players. It's a different thing, you know? And then he's going to bring up God again. Stop saying God brought you, bro. Business brought you to Colorado. And I got no problem with it. I'm a businessman. But leave God out of this, because it's convenient for you when God switches up for you. But the God I serve is consistent. And I see inconsistency in your statements when it comes to God. So just say, hey, man, I made a business decision. They gave me 30 million guaranteed. I got my coaches paid, and it's a bigger level. And you know what? Everybody can respect that. Just say that, man. Because I understand the business of it. The man is only worth 40 million. Hell, he's going to get his whole net worth in 6 years. So yeah, take the deal. I'm cool with that. I understand that. Jackson State people understand dollars and cents. Because like the one caller said, and I do have to say this, Deion even matched what W.C. Gordon did. W.C. Gordon had 16 NFL picks in 5 years and was undefeated in the SWAC for 5 straight years. So you ain't even matched that, Deion. So no, you will never be the greatest coach in Jackson State history. Because we know what greatness is in Jackson. You just brought it back, and I hope those Tigers keep it going. So, Blue, that's all I got, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you, Mr. Cable. And by the way, man, I had a blast in Jackson, man, this weekend. I mean, the stadium, I don't know if you went to the game or not, man, but it was electric, to say the least.
Well, you know, Blue, I'm going to tell you something. There's no better crowd when that thing is rocking and rolling with Southern and Jackson State, when something's on the line, man. I've seen that, like I say, I've been around Jackson State football since 1976. I went to every home game because I had to go. I took my friends from FAMU back to Jackson so they could see what HBCU football really looked like. So, yeah, man, that's an incredible thing. And, you know what? I do have to make one now. This is more of a sports thing. A.D. Robinson has a blueprint where he can sell to the next coach. Because, and Blue, you know this, the coach from Kansas State, where'd he come from? North Dakota State.
Yep.
They still rolling. Look at Boise State. How many coaches left Boise as a jump-off point and went to Power 5? So A.D. Robinson should do the same thing. We got the best fan base in HBCU football. We've got a winning tradition. We can recruit here. We are within 6 hours of every great football player in the South. You can be a winner here in Jackson State. Because I tell you what, fam, you got Willie Simmons. Is Willie Simmons a celebrity, Blue?
No.
But guess who got the most wins in HBCU football? Willie Simmons. So you don't need a celebrity to have a successful coach. You just need a good coach to have a successful coach. So Jackson State, go get you a good coach and go get you those players and keep it rolling. That's all I got, man.
Hey, Mr. Campbell, always appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, love you, nephew.
Yep. All right, man, guys, we got 1 million people on the call line, man. I'm gonna get to everyone though. 5580, you're live.
All right. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, man.
All right. This is Coach Stewart here. Yes, looking at that conference call this morning from Boulder, Colorado, one of the things that Deion said, I think they kind of slipped out because the other guy sitting next to him, the man looked like he controlled the money. I saw his face kind of go blank. He says, basically, thank you for saying that you, I'm kind of paraphrasing, thank you for helping my school out. Help me from help. In other words, it seems like there's some kind of deal where Jackson State is going to get some kind of help from the University of Colorado, like some kind of compensation. And he hit on that, and I saw this guy's face kind of turn because I don't think he wanted that kind of said that there might be some kind of package that's going to maybe help Jackson State. See, another thing I wanted to say is this, Blue. What's wrong with black folks? What's wrong with black folks is the historical legacy of disappointment. Disappointment is a hell of a thing. And when you see a hero, or you think you have a hero, you want that hero to be more than what you are. You want that hero to be Superman. You want that hero to be able to do things, jump over buildings that you weren't going to be able to jump over and stuff like this. And when you find out in your mind that your hero is just another human being, just like you, that wants money, that wants fame, that wants certain things, then all of a sudden you attack that person because you had put all your beliefs in this. So what we're going to be dealing with for the next few weeks is disappointment. Disappointment that will go away, but disappointment was there anyway. All right. I sure appreciate your program. You got a great program here, and I'm going to keep on watching you, and thank you for your service.
Hey, appreciate you, bud. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah. For your service.
2388, you're live.
Whoa, this 388?
2388, yeah.
Oh, this double T, double up.
What's up, man?
So, first of all, a lot of y'all hurt over nothing. Incarnate Word, they losing their second head coach in 2 years, right, Blue?
Yeah, and the funny part is their current coach was picked for the job over their coach from last year.
And they not crying. They trying to win playoffs. Like they talking about they on a playoff run before that coach when they try and win the championship before that coach leaves. And as far as Stephen Campbell, no, I don't know nothing about Jackson State. I don't never cry about any college. I went to a PWI. I don't care about no PWI. All y'all HBCU alumni, y'all act like y'all so high and mighty and everything. I'm in the hood. That's where I spend my money and my time at, to the hood. I ain't never seen no HBCU in the hood, ever. In none of the hoods I run in. I run all up and down the East Coast, all the way down to Florida. So when you say, oh, what HBCU you went to, you don't know. Nope, I don't know nothing about it. Because they ain't never been in the hood helping out when I'm standing on the block helping out. So piss on all that. Y'all all upset. Deion supposed to leave. He's doing what he's supposed to. Get out y'all feelings. Appreciate it, Blue. I'm out.
Appreciate the call, man. Oh, man, this is going to be an episode right here. 2389, you're live.
Hey, how you doing, y'all?
What's good, man?
I just want to say I enjoy your streaming. I'm watching it as of right now, and I hope you're having a good day. But let's just get something straight. It's not Deion's fault. It's Jackson, Mississippi's fault. Okay, because we should have done everything in our power financially to keep this man here. You know how much money this man has generated, in the couple of years he was here? And we sitting up here saying, oh, it's Deion's fault, or, you know what I'm saying? Because, no, Deion's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. Deion want to take care of his family. Deion gave half his salary to a football team that didn't have nothing a couple of years ago. Nothing. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like really sad that I hear my own people, because I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. I wasn't born, but I was raised up here. I was raised down here. You should see the sky in Jackson, Mississippi right now. It's so dull out here. It's so dark out here because, it felt like somebody died down here. You know what I mean? It felt like the city just died, because it's more like, yeah, Deion kind of gave us hope a little bit, and then it's kind of like you watch it kind of like all die when he left. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, bro, I just hope our people got some sense and stop blaming Deion for something he was supposed to do. Jackson, Mississippi had dropped the ball. The so-called people that say they support Jackson State dropped the ball. The university has dropped the ball, because you want to know one thing? Nobody's talking about this. It was a murder that happened on the school property. Nobody's talking about that. And then you got to think, as a father, would you want your kid literally in that school? You got to think about that. They found a whole dead person in a Dodge Charger on that campus. That's why he made certain decisions. It's not all about money, y'all. Y'all got to open your eyes. Y'all got to open your eyes. It's not all about money. They just found somebody dead in a car behind the school. And y'all really think he's finna keep his kids there? We just got to, I understand everybody angry. Most definitely be. But, bro, he doing everything he was supposed to be. I don't really got too much to say. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate the call, man.
They just found somebody dead.
7020. You're live.
What's going on, Blue?
What's good, man?
Hey, man. I live in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm 47 years old. I've been going to Jackson State games ever since I was 5. My aunt graduated from Jackson State. She ingratiated me with Jackson State. Even to the far as, even when I was in junior high school, I used to sell drinks at the stadium. Like the guy said, when Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Jackson State played on the same day. I'm glad he got it, because I hate a lot of our fans, bro. They so sensitive, and all that. You can't say nothing. I get to talking my displeasure about the team. First thing they ask me, did you graduate from Jackson State? Since I ain't graduate, I can't say nothing. But they graduated, they don't even give back to the school. I done gave more money back to the school, and I ain't even graduated from the school. So I'm glad he gone. So our people can get back to normal, man, because I have got tired of them myself. I was a Deion fan before he came to Jackson State. I was a Deion fan. I'm going to be a Deion fan after. I was a Jackson State fan since 1980. I'm going to be a Jackson State fan after. Yeah, he left. I know why. Cousin Shador. He left because of Shador. And an opportunity. So I think it was a good hire. Everybody uses a job as a stepping stone. People lie and say they don't. They lie. Guess what? He moved on. Everybody has said something and went back on their word before. It happens. His intention probably was to stay at Jackson State as long as he could. But it didn't work out like that. We got to let it go. So, with all that saying, all y'all butthurt JSU fans, bro, y'all said JSU was like this before Deion. I done been through all the trials and tribulations with Bell, Tony Hughes, Harold Jackson, and all that. Bruh, we were forgot about. JSU was forgot about until Deion got back. And if y'all said we wasn't, y'all will be lying. Have a good day, bro.
Hey, appreciate the call, man. And I saw people in the comments asking his area code was 601. Just gonna throw that out there for y'all. 4974. You're live.
Hello?
Hey, you're live.
Yeah, I want to say two things can be true at the same time. I mean, I know they two different individuals, but the way Deion left reminds me of the outroar of when LeBron left Cleveland. And I say that because all the things Deion did kind of getting overshadowed by how he left. But for the people who saying he's not going to win at Colorado, but now that USC and UCLA are leaving, who does he really have to beat? Utah State, Oregon State. Deion will beat those teams. And the recruiters he's bringing with him, he's going to probably have one of the best recruiting classes this year. So I think he will win. But, yeah, people really got to get up in feelings. The way he left, yeah, that's unacceptable, but you can't take away from what he did. That's all I got to say.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. I agree with you, too. I talked earlier. I think he can win. Let's see. I'm pretty sure this is Timona. Timona, you live?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. So I've had a time to mourn and grief and just take time to put my thoughts together before I actually spoke out about this situation. And I wanted to first off start by getting rid of that narrative that Jackson State needed to offer him more money, more and more. Like, Coach Prime is one of the highest paid FCS coaches with all of the incentives, the percentage of sales from season tickets, percentage of sales from the home games. He's clearing $1 million a year. And we also have to look at the trajectory of Jackson State. Coach Prime bought Jackson State to prominence and winning 2 SWAC titles in less than 2.5 years. Like, it was kind of like jumbo speed. And I don't think that Black people are necessarily mad that he left. I know for Jackson State alums, and I'm sure those student athletes, the reason why people are upset is because of the whole God sent me here, God called me collect, and I accepted the charges, and you can get drafted from an HBCU. Like, it was the whole narrative that not just Jackson State bought into, but the world bought into this narrative. And that's another reason why all of these Fortune 500 companies are like, wow, look at what Deion is doing. Let's invest our money over there. And so we just got so much recognition, and Jackson State went onto this stage. And then I think that Coach Prime realized, you know what, I've hit a wall here, and it's not a wall that I'm going to be able to overcome before Shedeur gets drafted. And that wall is, there's no way that there's going to be a stadium built. It's not going to get approved to build. They're not doing that. The water system isn't working. They're not going to approve for a water system at Jackson State. That's going to affect recruiting. The facilities aren't going to be built in enough time. Everything that Coach Prime does is, in my opinion, yes, it's for his legacy, but also his main thing is to get Shedeur to the NFL. So in many ways, Colorado is the same as Jackson State, meaning except for the fact that it's a Power 5 and they have the facilities. But they're like, how many games did they win this year? 1?
Yeah, they went 1-11 this year, and they had the worst points differential in the country.
Yeah, I think I saw that. 536 points in one season versus a 5-year spread for Georgia or something like that. So outside of Jackson State being an HBCU, Colorado is Jackson State with the facilities, meaning they need resurgence. And he has this like Superman complex. Like, I'm going to come over here and save the day. At Jackson State, he saved the day. Now, I believe that he should have finished, but I think that the Power Five, Colorado was pressuring him to do it before early signing day, before the transfer portal, before all of that mess gets to rolling. That's why they started leaking everything, because they don't want people to commit to Jackson State. Like, and people who keep on saying that it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal. Liberty just hired a coach. Nobody cares. I think the Coastal Carolina head coach just went. Is that the one that went to Liberty?
Yeah, Jamie Chadwell accepted the Liberty job.
Okay. Nobody cares. Hugh Freeze, it was in the news for a couple of days, but nobody cares. Why is everybody talking about Deion Sanders, and what is the difference between Hugh Freeze and the Coastal Carolina guy? What is the difference is because of what Deion symbolized. What did he symbolize? He symbolized dismantling the current infrastructure, which has billions and billions of dollars invested in it, and telling the top talent to go to smaller schools. That's why it's such a big deal. And so for me, I do feel like, well, damn, because if you listen to his speech to Colorado, or when he was talking at the press conference, he was like, oh yeah, and they're going to reach back to Jackson State. We don't need your charity case. You go ahead and keep it. You did what you did. We're grateful for that. We have a brand new practice field, updated locker rooms. They have uniforms. As long as the so-called people who cared so much, as long as they stay and not, this is where we're going to really see, do the Fortune 500 companies really care about HBCUs, or were they there just for fun? And that's all I have to say.
Hey, T, you always know I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on here. I know everyone's been waiting for you to speak on something, so I appreciate you calling in.
All right. Thanks, Blue.
Oh, man, where do we even go from here?
It's not this.
8575, you're live.
Yeah, he's a marketer.
8575, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, bud?
What's good, man?
Man, one thing I want to say, man, for Deion Sanders, man, first of all, it was a blessing for him to come down to Jackson, Mississippi. It's only so much you can do in 3 years. I mean, this guy here won 2 SWAC championships in 2 years. I mean, you have to move on to the next destination in life, man. It's kind of like we all want to wish for the lottery. And you get that phone call one day, and you have to go. It's like an on-site decision. So, man, in Jackson, I'm from Jackson, Mississippi, man. We appreciate you, Deion, man. Go on to the next level. And we just appreciate the enjoyment, man, the 3 years we did have.
Hey, that's fair, man. I think there's a lot of things that I was talking to a few Jackson State fans last night in Jackson, man, and they were just like, in my perspective, we got 2 SWAC championships. And, man, if Jackson State goes on and wins the Celebration Bowl, man, it's going to be a 13-0 historic season.
Man, and also, let me tell you this, man. Shouts out to Jackson State because, man, around here, it's only so much you can do. We come from a similar not having nothing, but Deion did motivate this city. And it do feel kind of dead, but guess what, man? Even Jesus rose again. So we will have our time, and the competition in the SWAC for all SWAC teams, man, it's just a blessing to be in the SWAC, man. You know, but nothing lasts forever, man.
That's true, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, man. Great call. Appreciate you.
All right, appreciate you, bro.
8582. You're live. (8582). You're live.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, man.
All right, cool. So, honestly, man, my bad, I'm at the gym, man, but I really want to speak on this because, a lot of people kind of frustrated, but I feel like, honestly, people say it was selfish for Deion to leave. I don't feel like it was selfish. I feel like, was his son truly going to get drafted from Jackson State? Like, his son wasn't even being a Heisman candidate. It took RG3 having to talk about him for him to be a Heisman candidate. So I honestly think it wasn't Deion just making a decision for himself, but it was also for his son. I don't think anybody's really talking about that. Shadur needs to have, Pac-12 Power 5 experience. He doesn't need to I love HBCUs, don't get me wrong, but is the Cincinnati Bengals really looking for that? Is the New Orleans Saints really looking for that, or do they want a Power 5 candidate? The person that's going to win the Heisman this year is from the Pac-12. He's from Caleb Williams. I'm pretty sure it's Caleb Williams, right? That's his name?
Yeah, that's who my vote would be for.
Yeah, so honestly, man, I think it's not just, Deion Sanders. Of course, the way that he went about it, saying, God's telling me to come to Jackson State, and now he's saying God's telling him to leave, which is, unfortunate because he's putting God in the mix. But, I honestly think everybody that's on the line right now, if you were getting paid $300,000 and now instead of you getting paid $300,000, they're trying to pay you $5 million a year. I think 75 to 90% of the people that's listening right now would take that. It's difficult to turn that down. I know you got commercials. I know you got this, that, and the third, but not only are you about to get paid, but you could allow your son to get Pac-12 experience to go to the NFL. I think that's a deal you can't really miss out on. Like, if Deion Sanders were to stay in the Pac-12, if he were to stay in the SWAC at Jackson State, Shadur could throw for 80 touchdowns next year, and they're still going to consider somebody else as a Heisman because it's the SWAC. And that's unfortunate. It's sad, but, I think that was the best decision for himself and for his son. And, Travis Hunter is going to be okay. Travis Hunter is going to be able to go anywhere. I think a lot of people are talking about Travis Hunter and saying, oh, where's Travis Hunter going to do? He just went from getting, top two, recruits in the high school to going to Jackson State. Bro, Travis Hunter is going to be okay. He's going to find a way to do. He could easily go to Auburn, Florida State. LSU needs cornerbacks. He could go anywhere right now. Like, he's going to be okay. As far as all of the recruits that he just got, Deion Sanders, they're going to be okay. It's unfortunate that Deion Sanders had to leave, but I think that's the best decision he made and to take the Colorado job, the 1-11 Colorado team last year. If Deion Sanders can make them a contender in the Pac-12 next year, in the next 3 years, Deion Sanders will get an SEC job. I believe it. I believe it. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
It's possible. I've already had a caller call in earlier that said that she thinks that Prom's going to be the next head coach at Arkansas after Pittman. She thinks Pittman's not going to make it and he could go there. But I've stopped trying to guess what Prom's going to do, man, because he's not a normal coach. You know what I mean? Because you can predict what some coaches are going to do based on connections, where they coach, their coaching tree. Prom, man, he is a completely different person to try to figure out what he's going to do, because he's not necessarily motivated solely by money. He came in as a former NFL player with not having to come up the basic coaching path, and so it's going to be really tough to predict what his next move is. But I think one thing you could say about Prom, and everyone's talked about this, is he always has a plan. So I'm sure he's already making the next plans of what's going to happen, but I can't imagine that Colorado would be his final destination point. I would be very, very surprised about that.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. I definitely agree with that. I just want people that's tuning in right now to really think about Shadur more than you think about Deion. Like, think about Shadur, like his path to the NFL. What is his percentage to get into the NFL now that he's at Colorado rather than Jackson State? And being at Jackson State, I think it was probably like a 10 to 15% chance. At Colorado, I think it just went up to probably like 20 to 35%, you know? And if he transfers, I don't think he needs to transfer again because he's at the Pac-12. If Shadur could do his thing right now, Shadur could definitely get a chance at being drafted compared to if he were to graduate at Jackson State, he's going to be an undrafted free agent. And I guarantee you that he will be an undrafted free agent if he graduates from whether he puts up 80 touchdowns a year, 100 touchdowns, they're not going to consider him over Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, over Drake May. No, come on now. That's crazy. So I appreciate you taking my call, man. I just wanted to say that real quick, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, man. You have a great one.
You too. Let's see. 0864, you're live.
Hey, hello?
Hey, you're live, man.
How you doing, Blue? First
Not too
time
bad.
calling. Sorry. All right. I just had a quick question. And I don't understand why people are upset. Because in life, isn't life all about elevation? And he did what he's supposed to do. You're talking to a coach from Houston, Texas, who's been around everything that he's done from the youth to the high school level. And now to see him flourishing in college, wouldn't we want to see him elevate? And when he came to Jackson, he elevated the program to a national prominence. I went to HBCU, Central State University in Ohio. I never knew about Jackson State University. Now I see it on game day. Good Morning America. New practice facility. Fortune 500 companies invest. What more do they want from him? Can't stay there forever.
I mean, I can't speak for everyone, man. Just some of the reasons I've heard is that his actions and his words didn't necessarily match up. And I think like a lot of people, and this is just from what people have called in and said, man, because I can't speak to some of these issues, but they feel like they sold them on a movement and turned on that movement and like one of the first chances. And then on top of that, they feel like he kind of played on religion in terms of being there for a higher purpose. And a lot of them didn't think that purpose was done. I mean, you could argue either way, but I mean, those are just a few of the comments that have called in, and also that I've heard on other shows since the news kind of broke yesterday.
I mean, I guess this, as an African American male, I guess this is my only problem. It's only our own people who always like turn on us. He did everything that he could down there. Water crisis. They're not going to build a new stadium for a couple years. And I feel like we don't value ourselves. That's why they're upset. You got a Power 5 head coach at the FCS level. Yeah, he didn't have the experience, but if you know anything about the sport of football and on the youth level, high school level in Texas, if you're around, everybody knows that when whatever he touches with the young man, it elevates, it grows, they're successful. Jackson State was 4-8 before he got there. Turn around, they had the little spring season. Doesn't count. Those were it wasn't his players. First time he gets his players in, he dominates the SWAC. Next year, he got some more of his players in. He killed the SWAC. Now he's about to play for a championship, and people are upset. 2 SWAC championships. You went from obscurity to relevance in a matter of 3 seasons. Got a new $1 million practice field. All this greatness that came in, $30 million generated. Be grateful. Kevin Gates put it the best. Only people that ever hated on me are my own. Everybody else around me wants me to succeed. We need to learn how to be grateful. And all the donors that are on here complaining, donate the money. That's how Boulder, Colorado, and the University of Colorado, Ohio State, all these others, donate the money. Put your money where your mouth is and stop crying. That's all I really got to say.
Hey, appreciate the call,
But
man.
I love your show. Love your show. Love everything you're doing. And
Hey.
H-Town in the building.
Appreciate you, man. Man, I didn't think the call lines. I didn't think the call lines would get to the point where we were quoting Kevin. Who to quote? Kevin Gates to justify prom leaving. That was a wild one. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Let's see. I'm trying to see who's been on here the longest. 4974. You're live.
Yeah, this is Nick. I called in earlier. I just wanted to say something else because I had forgot. Deion already has started hitting the ground recruiting. So I know a lot of the recruits that he recruited to Jackson, some didn't want to go to Jackson because of school. So some of those recruits he revisiting, like the tight end, he's already gave him an offer. The receiver from USF who's transferring, Jimmy Horn Jr., he's already said that Colorado's in his top 3. Expect them to get some. And I also forgot how people say he didn't take his staff, and that was BS. Well, look at his staff. Dennis Thurman is rumored to go to Colorado with him as an analyst. Bortoloni has been rumored to go with him. Mathis has been rumored to go with him. Hart's been rumored to go with him. Bruce has been rumored to go with him. So how is it capped? He's taking more than half of the staff with him to Colorado. So that's the question I have for you. Like, is it really can be considered cap if he's taking more than half of the staff?
I mean, I guess not. I mean, listen, it's going to be life-changing money for whoever he takes, and it's going to be a great opportunity. I don't think, I personally don't think he was lying when he said that. I just think there's some people who thought that he meant like he was going to take everyone with him, and um, that's just not the case. But I think most fans are logical and understood that he wasn't going to be able to take everyone. But I mean, that's a good point, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling back in, man.
All right, appreciate you.
All right, I got you, Leo. What's good, Leo? You're live.
Yeah, what's good, Blue?
What's good, man?
Not much. Hey, so I'm getting in kind of late, on your show, but it's a couple of things I wanted to hit on just from like some of the stuff I've just been seeing on different like videos and different stuff like on the internet, social media and stuff. So I see that a lot of people are concerned, like, oh, they're not going to give him the chance, like he got to, turn it around quickly. But me personally, I kind of feel the opposite. I mean, we're talking about a doormat. You know what I mean? Even so, yeah, it's a Power Five, but we're talking about a doormat program. You know what I mean? Me personally, I feel like if he comes out, 7-5, 8-4 within like the first 2 years, you know what I mean? I really feel like they're going to give him some time because, like, that they don't know success. Like, I feel like, if he would have possibly went to Cincinnati or something like that, they're used to winning, so they're not going to tolerate that. But it's like, when you're not used to something, I feel like you get a little bit more leeway. So I want to get your opinion on that. Do you think, if he is maybe sub 500 or, right above 500, that that's going to give him a little bit more leeway?
I think year one, they understand it's going to take some time, bro. I mean, you're talking about a program that was 1-11, bro, and they had the worst defense statistically in the country. They had the biggest points per game differential in the entire country. Like, they understand this is going to be a rebuild. I think, man, if he can win a handful of games year one, get bowl eligible by year two, and have a contender by year 3 or 4, man, Colorado fans in Colorado are going to be in love with him. I don't see how Colorado would expect him to win year one. I mean, I don't think you send Nick Saban to Colorado when he wins year one. The program is they're going to have a rebuild. And I think you heard the press conference, man, they are so bought into like this idea of bringing him in and rebuilding the program, there's no chance they don't give him at least 4 years to figure it out. Now, if we're at year 4, 0 winning seasons, then man, listen, this is a business, and you didn't work,
Yeah.
and you're out of here. But I think as long as he can be bowl eligible by year 1 or year 2, man, he'll be fine. And you never know if he goes in there and kills it in the portal, and they got a squad. I mean, if they get to a bowl game this year and win it, it'll be their first bowl win since I think '04. I mean, man, Colorado is going to be foaming at the mouth at this hire.
Man, they're
It's
going to
going
try
to
to
be
give him an
crazy.
extension immediately. They get him to a bowl first year.
Man, they might build a statue year 1. That's just winning a bowl game. I mean, it's been a long time. And also, you got to remember, Colorado's only won the division once in the Pac-12. They have 0 Pac-12 championships. Their last conference championship was, I think, '01. So it's just, man, you gotta be patient, and I think they will be.
Right. Like, and that's what I was trying to tell people, because my whole thing is a lot of people try to compare it to, like, oh, Charlie Strong at Texas, or Tyrone at Notre Dame. You know what I mean? Which I thought Notre Dame was my FBS school. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about winning programs that are used to winning. Like, you can't compare a doormat situation to winning programs. You know, that's why I was just trying to get into people. Second thing I really wanted to ask you though, because I mean, obviously he's at Colorado now, and it was rumored that he was a dark horse for UNLV. Is there a reason why UNLV isn't as attractive? Because I mean, it's in Vegas. I would think that that would be like a flock, an easy flock for like a potential coach that's trying to like build his name. How serious do you think that was, like, as far as like being a dark horse?
Not any. I'll be honest with you. I came on the show, man. Listen, I told y'all about the offer, but when it happened, like, I mean, I've been right on a lot of the information I've given you guys, even though I caught a lot of heat for it. He never had an offer to Cincinnati. Auburn reached out to his representatives, and that it was going to be Kiffin or Freeze. He was never a realistic candidate there, and there was some smoke with USF, but they weren't going to give him enough money, and it was going to be either he went to Colorado or he was going to come back and coach to Jackson. I mean, I don't think any other job was a realistic option for him, and I don't think he was a realistic candidate. And Cincinnati was not on their top of their list. And so, I mean, and the deal in Colorado was pretty much already finalized before Cincinnati's job even opened. And UNLV's not in Power 5 conference, and they've been atrocious recently. So Colorado is a much better job than UNLV. I'll just say that.
Right. Hey man, that's pretty much what I got, because I really think, like, recruiting is, I mean, come on, this Deion, like, he's going to get the recruits, man. But I just wanted to get your take, man. And if anybody else don't appreciate when you bring us the information, I do. You feel me? I know, you do your due diligence, man. So, man, appreciate the good work, man. Looking forward to the show tonight.
Hey, appreciate you.
All right.
Let me answer this question, man, because Rifa's been putting it in here. I mean, I'm probably not going to cover Shador. I mean, I'll like talk about him if there's like a big moment or a big game or something. But bro, this show is sticking with our niche. Like, we're gonna be covering FCS football, we're gonna be covering SWAC and MEAC football, and we're gonna be covering a little bit of P5 throughout the year, just like the big news and the huge games. And nothing on this channel is changing, regardless of the job. And so I'm not really interested in like being a Shador page alone where I'm just like following Shador around. So I mean, I'll give y'all updates if there's something worth talking about, but I'm not going to be a Colorado channel or a Shador Sanders channel. 0477, you're live.
Hey.
What's up, man? You're live.
Hey, what's up, Blue? Enjoy the show. So, I keep hearing everybody talking about how Deion, was good for HBCUs. And I mean, he brought attention, but I think he was super good for Jackson State. But when I ask people, well, tell me what he did for HBCUs other than bringing light to the conference. I mean, Fort Valley still has a raggedy stadium. I mean, FAMU was doing what they were doing anyway, right? Where was the big change he did for HBCUs? I mean, tangible.
I'll say this. I get that he said that, but at the end of the day, man, like he was a head coach at Jackson State. I don't know. I don't know what the expectation was for what else he could do. Like if he was the commissioner, I get it. Like, but his job like take his words away because what he said, I get why people had expectations, but he was hired to coach Jackson State and build Jackson State into a powerhouse. There is nothing else in his contract, nothing else in his expectations from Ashley Robinson and the president of Jackson State other than to win at Jackson State and build Jackson State into what he did. But I do think a lot of the expectations outside other outside people is that he was kind of pitching it as he was going to do something more outside of what his job required. And I can see why the disappointment's there of they feel like his job wasn't done.
Right. But I'm so from two levels, right? People and even Deion said he came to change the game, right? Because other than tangible things, other than everybody has their name on the back of the jerseys now. Tangible, I don't.
I mean, outside of the jerk, I mean, he spoke out a lot of different stuff, and I think there's some changes coming down the
But
pipeline.
did people listen and did it change anything?
Now, if people listen and take what he said at face value, I don't know. That's going to be up to the SWAC commissioner and other schools to analyze that. But when you look at, I mean, what issues do you want to talk about? I'm trying to think of some of the things he suggested. I know the jersey names. You know, a lot of people are getting on that, and there's some FCS programs that need to get on that because there's a lot of FCS programs that haven't, that don't even have names on the back of their jersey. But TV stuff, HBCU Go was a huge hit this year, and I'm hoping that keeps evolving. We'll see what happens when the next TV contracts negotiated. A lot of the changes I think he was speaking about are things that couldn't be changed right this second, but rather things that are going to have to change over the next 2 or 3 years. So what's going to happen when they renegotiate the contract and they get a bag, let's just say, and they take what some of Prime said and apply it in 2 years? Are we going to retroactively look back and credit Prime for that? Or are we going to forget that he was the one to suggest that?
No. I think if something that he said or preached about comes to fruition, then yeah, we give him credit. But I'm just saying right here, right now, because I mean, people say it all the time. Somebody asked me about, well, you can't deny that he's changed the game. I'm like, when people start coming to me and asking me, hey, how can I see that Howard and Hampton game? Where is that game? I know you follow HBCU. How can I see? That's when I know he's changed the game. But I mean, like a few people said, you can't deny what he did for Jackson State. And yeah, he went out, I don't want to say ugly, but it could have been done better. But nobody, 0 people at Jackson State should be saying anything bad about him. He could have left better. But other than that, you all sat up there and, took advantage of everything he got y'all and the winning that he got y'all. You got to just say, hey, that was a good ride. It's just like when the average guy is dating the supermodel. Okay, hey, I got her, and I know she ain't gonna be with me long, but I'm gonna ride this out until she leaves me, until she figure out she with me. So I think, I think he did great things for Jackson State, and they need to be praising his name. But that's me, and that's my opinion.
Hey, man, I
Enjoy the
appreciate you
show.
calling in and giving your opinion on that, man. He had a
And
little bit
that's
of
cool.
positivity on the call line. Hey, man, definitely appreciate you, man. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with all these people. 4158, you're live. Well, okay, or not. 7482, you're live.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, man.
Hey, I was just calling. My name is Nigel. I'm from FAMU, and there's been rumors around him trying to poach Willie Simmons to be on his staff. What do you think about that, and the potential of maybe crippling another program? I use the word cripple because we wasn't really good, and Coach Simmons came and rebuilt those. He's been there for 5 or 6 years, I believe. I'm not sure of the direction that our program will go in if he does leave. So what do you think about that?
Okay.
That's all I have for you.
Oh no, you're
Thank you.
good.
Thank you for
I'll say this. I do think some people are being a little bit emotional right now, but the whole idea of him kind of screwing over the swag or whatever, man, that conversation holds some real weight if he takes Willie Simmons from FAMU. I mean, ooh, like you're talking about, hey man, I'm gonna take the um SWAC player of the year, the two-time SWAC player of the year, and we're gonna take him with me to Colorado. I'm gonna go ahead and take the sole 5-star that committed to the SWAC, and then I'm gonna also take a top 3 coach in HBCU football with me to be the OC. And there's rumors he might grab Dancy from Valley. I mean, oh, that would just be a tough pill to swallow. I would love it for Dancy and Simmons to get the opportunity, but oh man, that would be a brutal loss. A brutal loss for the SWAC. I'll just say that. Anonymous, you're live.
Oh, man, thank you. Hello?
What's up, man? You're live.
Luke, you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. Look, people got to be realistic, man. I've been saying this all day. Deion Sanders is not the average star in the NFL. He's not even the average quarterback. He's not the average person. So trying to replace him, forget about it. It's out. It's out for that. That's not possible. It can only go down. It's not going to go up. That's just being realistic. And when people say, oh, well, what was he going to be there for his whole career? No, idiot. Nobody's saying that. That's not even realistic. What people were saying was we wanted to see it play out. And even though when he came in, it was a little cringeworthy. I was like, he's saying all this, it's hallelujah and all this church stuff. I'm like, in the back of your mind, if you know Deion, if you've listened to his Hall of Fame speech ever since he's been a player, he talks it up. Like, he's not a trash talker, but he talks. He's one of them guys that gets better as he talks. So I knew some of it was fluff, but I didn't expect him to stay 2 years in part. The reason why it's such a big deal is because we've seen the potential. We've seen it's starting to work. And when you start getting people to buy into it, it's kind of like a what you call butterfly effect. So he not necessarily is going to have his hand on all HBCUs, but it changes the course of the power structure. So him leaving, he just basically took it right back to where it was, probably worse before he came to JSU. And he did some amazing stuff. Yeah, we get 4 stars starting to come in. Then other guys will want to compete. Not everybody's going to be able to play for Deion. But once you leave, the leverage is going. So the guys transfer out. And it just, and then it goes to look at like, well, can we believe any coach if they say, well, we trying to bring back HBCUs or whatever? It's going to seem like it's a bunch of fluff. Nobody's going to have faith in it. So the 2-year mark, I said, is like, it's just premature. Like, nobody's mad that he took another position. It's not about that. It's about the fact that we didn't get to see this thing at its full potential. And it's kind of like you butter people up for a big letdown. And the last thing I was going to say is the main thing I was looking at, if Shedeur, people said Shedeur get drafted. He was going to get drafted anyway. His last name is Sanders, and he's a good quarterback. If you could play, you could play. Now, I know that they do judge on a floating scale and that whole the whole FCS thing competition. Yeah, that's true. But I think we've gotten nowadays it's so far off from people putting hard work down and looking at real skill. We go too much off of these damn stars, and if you keep saying something, it's going to become true. So if you keep saying Power 5, oh, it's no competition, then that's what it's going to be. And people don't look; they'll be judging through a little foggy lens. Like you can look on tape. If you're a real football player, if you're a real person that studies tape, it doesn't matter. You can look at tape like, all right, this guy can play. Shador, he's a draftable quarterback. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. He can be drafted. He's not. It has nothing to do with his mechanics. He can be drafted. So when he gets drafted, now he has a Colorado University hat. All that stuff gets funneled back to them. All the credit, all the donations. When he's coming back, he's going to visit Colorado most likely. I don't know. But it would have been nice if he would have came from JSU and been attached to the swag. And then you had Deion talking to Isaiah Land, convinced him to stay at his school for another year, and then you go run to a Power 5. So it's a bad look, man. And overall, I'm not going to say I hate Deion. That's not the way of going about it. But it's like you can't excuse this. We can't give a pass for this. Like this is just a bad look. Like it just changes the whole power structure. It goes right back to the FBS, and it's kind of like it was on dull lead on water. So people get in Jackson, Mississippi, people in Mississippi, y'all have a right to feel the way y'all want to feel. You're a human, and a lot of times black people try to push our feelings and laugh and stuff. But just like any other fan base, when you get let down, you're a human. You have the right to be upset, and you have the right to have some damn pride. All right, man. Y'all have a blessed Sunday.
Hey, appreciate you calling in, man. Great call. All right, let's see. Oh, my Lord, man. We got a million people still on here. 2156. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, Blue?
What's good, man?
Hey, so, man, initially I had mixed emotions about him leaving. Obviously, yesterday was holding out hope. Even with all the credible journalists reporting that he was leaving, still was holding out that chance that he would stay. So obviously when it became official, especially after the SWAC championship, it was kind of, roller coaster ride. Because, most people root for the underdog. So it wasn't just, residents of Jackson, rooting for JSU. Jackson acquired more fans than they probably ever would realize. So went to church today and, got all the negativity out of my spirit and said, man, you know what? Whenever somebody, come into your life and they pull into your life and, they make you better, tell them thank you. So all the fans, the residents of Jackson, the community, man, trust me, they don't want to slander Deion's name. They don't want to make him regret even, taking that job. And just let's enjoy the next few weeks because it's still unfinished business. Most coaches wouldn't even come back to finish the job. They would, hire talent and keep it moving. But he's actually coming back to see it through. And as fans, as the community of Jackson, I would say, let's show our appreciation, for what he did do and the sacrifices that he did make, because he did make some sacrifices, and I think that's pretty documented. So outside of that, that's all I wanted to say.
Hey, appreciate the call, man. Definitely hit the like button, man. I made a whole slide thing talking about the job, man. I didn't even need to make all that. I just need to make this title page with the call-in number. Man, we got a 2-hour show, and I ain't even talked about anything I wanted to talk about on the show. So, man, I'm gonna keep taking these callers, man. And we'll end the show, I guess, with all the information I wanted to give y'all for the show. 6728, you're live.
Hello.
Hey, you're live.
Hi. Yo, this is crazy. This is my first time calling in. Really appreciate it. I don't know why everybody's acting like Deion's God. He's not. He's a man. He went to the South. He did good things. uplifted the whole like HB, put them on the map. People looking at black universities, football, all that stuff. That's great. What was he supposed to do? Stay there for like ever? Anybody work at a job, when you want to move on, you go to a better job. It's nothing different. There's so many factors. Someone spoke about the crime. When I was looking for colleges for my daughter who attends an HBCU, Jackson, we passed that over because of the crime that we pulled up because of crime. These people were getting robbed in their offices, things taken in their offices. That's real close. The murder on campus was on campus, not in the city. It was on campus. So look at that. The death threats to his kids, people on social media talking about they're going to snatch their chains and do all that stuff. That's a factor. Another factor, they made so much money, contributed to them making money for the city couldn't tip them. Like the man said, give me a tip. You know, give them a tip. And then you have all these people coming on here, sounding like they about 90 years old. You know, these holy rollers, the backsliding, they're going to get on the fact that he was bringing like God in it. Maybe God did tell them to go there. And now God's telling them to go. And there's nothing wrong with that. But they're acting like their ish don't stink. Stop it. Them little church folks, stop it. They're acting like he used God. No, that's what you perceived it to be. So stop making it seem like, oh, it was, you know, he used God and all this other stuff. Aside from that, the thing about Shedeur and being a quarterback, him wanting to get into the NFL, if that was my son, I'm gonna do what's best for my son. If that he needs to see if he can play on a higher level. If he can, then so be it. If he can't, that'll be seen too. But why let that opportunity go if, you know, he got to prove himself? You want to get in NFL, you're not going to do that at an HBCU. You're not. You're not going to be playing against like NFL type competition, higher levels. You're not. So yeah, take him somewhere where he can play on a higher level. If he proves himself, great. If he don't, then he won't go. Why you make that face? Seriously.
I mean, I get some of, like, okay, you can't say, because I understand it's hard to make it to the NFL from the FCS, but it's really, really tough to say you can't do it because, man, we just saw, like, we just saw James Houston last year go from JSU, man, on Thanksgiving Day on CBS, 12 p.m., man, in front of the whole country, man. 2 sacks, was up for the NFL Rookie of the Week award. But you got Donnie Rogers-Cromartie. Like, I think you can't say it's impossible from HBCUs or the FCS because it's tougher. I agree. It's a tougher path, but it definitely can be done.
It could be done. It will be difficult, but look at all of the factors. That's what I'm saying. It's not just, you know, money, or it's not just, you know, this or that. There's so many factors that come into play when it comes to the crime, when it comes to, you know, him wanting better for his son. The facility is like crazy at Colorado. I mean, I would feel like Superman walking into that place. I mean, that's cool. Is there crime in Colorado? Yeah, there's crime in Colorado. There's crime all over the place. But this stuff is happening like right under their nose on campus. Like, that's kind of scary. You know, and if it is more money, so be it. They weren't trying to take care of the program in Jackson. They weren't. And you can see when they spoke to the commissioner, they interviewed him, and you just put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, it was some heated discussion going on in that meeting, and people couldn't come to an agreement. So it's like, why leave? You're using your salary. They pay you to coach there, but you're using your salary, some of your money, to take care of your job, the facility where you work. He's not an owner. He worked there, and he's using his own money. He's not God. It's great. It's sad that people are hating on him. Let them go. Let them do what's best for their family, and be thankful for the change that he did bring to the school. It was sad. There's no reason those schools should be in those conditions. My daughter attends an HBCU. I'm in California. So, and then someone said something about, you know, one of the rappers out here donating all this money, this black rapper, donating all this money to, USC and all that. He's an LA boy. Like that's his city, that's his town, that's what they're taking care of. It would be great if he donated to HBCUs. Don't nobody know if he did or if he didn't. But that's what they do. That's what they do out here. They give USC a lot of money. But that's because they're from out here. They're not from a state where, in the South. They're not. So why, put these people down? But they should be thankful. He came there, he made some changes, and God told him to go, and now God's telling him to leave. But it's sad that all these people from these states are really like coming down hard, wishing him bad. The one guy was talking, he was wishing him bad, like, oh, in the next 2 years, this is going to happen and it ain't going to work out. That's just negative. Like, you think he's not going to recruit from HBCU now that he had a taste of it? Think about that. Think about the positive in it, that he'll go out there and look for some guys that probably wouldn't have been looked at or scouted or anything like that. I don't think he's just going to completely ignore HBCUs. So they need to stop acting like he's a man. He ain't Martin Luther King. He ain't Malcolm X. Like he's just one dude. He's a coach, and he's done a good thing, and it's time to move on.
Hey, I appreciate the call.
Thank you.
Okay. 4354, you're live.
Hey, how you doing, man?
What's up, man?
Hold on, I'm trying to close out. I don't want no echo. Hold on. I was watching the show live, man. I just checked you out, man. I just came across your channel, man. So I just subscribed to your channel. So,
I appreciate you, man.
I like the discussion you got going on. Hello?
Oh no, you're good, man. I said I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, man. I like the discussion you got going on.
So what's your thoughts, man?
Oh yeah, man. I just wanted to say this is Coach Prime's journey, man. This is his journey, man. He could have chose a couple places before Jackson State, but he chose to come there and help build that program. Everybody benefited from him being there. They made money. They all that sellouts they had, they made money. It's time for him to progress, man. As far as his son, that's his son. Of course, his son want to play against the top level, but of course he wants to play for his dad. He want to come help his dad at a new place. His dad trying to figure stuff out, and that's one thing he don't got to figure out. So I'm saying, like, a lot of people, they don't understand. Like the lady said, he was using his own money. Like, they don't understand, man, that he got to take his opportunity, and this is part of his journey. You know what I'm saying? Instead of hating what he's doing, see what he built already, and then build on that. They already have something to build on. So everybody benefited from that. So I don't feel like he should be punished for taking Colorado job.
Hey, I appreciate your take, man. Thank you for calling in.
All right, man. I appreciate that.
All right. We'll go here.
All right, man.
9894, you're live.
All right. Hey, Blue, how you doing?
What's good, man?
Good. Blue, you had an outstanding show today, and I think we all appreciate you extending so much time to us. You're just like a therapist is what the role you're playing right now. So you probably have to do another 2 or 3 sessions to get us all back on equilibrium. But let me say this. I thought about this, and let me say this, give you a little background on me. I was an administrator at Jackson State about 8 years ago, working for an outside company and everything like that. So I have a feel for, and I was there for like 3.5 years. So I have a feel for the intimacy working at Jackson State. And I went to HBC, so when I had the opportunity to go to Jackson State, I was really excited. I lived in Atlanta, left my family in Atlanta. I'm going to Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson State University. My former boss was an alumni. He said, "Hey, you got to come to Jackson State. Ain't nothing like it." So I went, and it was great. Like I said, I'm from HBCU. My daughter went to HBCU, but I tell that to give you a little this. I think this is what I suspect. This is something that Deion ran into. You come with high hopes and everything like that. You bring your outside professional experiences and everything like that. Your goal is to bring that to bear at the university. And then you run into the craziness, the politics and things like that. And so things that you think are no-brainers or why can't we do that? We can move. Things that typically should be taken care of with 1 or 2 meetings, they end up taking 5 or 6 months just to have a discussion about it. And I think what he ran into is that, for 2.5 years, he's saying, you know what, I'm 55 years old. All of a sudden, I got some health issues and things like that. And you know what, I came with great intention and everything like that, but sometimes things just don't go quite the way you planned it. You know what I mean? And he wants to be a good coach and coach at the next level. So I think he just said, you know what, some people say I ain't swag. Some people beat me up and everything like that. And like I said, I don't think you have to minimize him developing some health issues. So you realize that, you know what, I don't have a whole lot of time to do what I want to do. And I think this opportunity at Colorado came along. It still put him in the Power 5, still put him in a situation where he can build something up from the ground. I think he's like the kind of guy that like to build things from scratch. And I sense that that's what it is. You know what I mean? And I think, again, a lot of people, when you come as a professional outside of the intimacy of HBCU, you get real frustrated real quick about the nonsense of politics. And remember, he used to use that term all the time, nonsense. I can't deal with the nonsense. I can't deal with it. I know. So my plan would be there 4 or 5 years. After 3 years, you know what? I was out of there. It wore me out. And I'm about 10 years younger than Deion. I was at that time. So just a thought, you know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? And the other thing I want to say this, guy, is, I saw some of the videos that were posted, with him rising and spending time and walking through at Colorado. The way he was hugging Bossy and kissing Bossy and the smile on his fiance face and stuff like that. You know what? I think I got a feeling like, you know what? And she was grabbing him. I think she said something like, look at this, Dad. Yeah, you know what? Why go through all this crap when this is an opportunity? Beyond the money and everything like that, you know what I mean? And some people, you know what? You go to where you appreciate it versus where you tolerate it. That's a thought.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call. (7485) you're live.
What's going on, Blue? This is Margo from the Jacks.
What's
the
good,
retro
man?
in the chat, Mr. Off Topic. Hey, first off, what you think about Alabama missing the playoffs? And look, everybody in the chat, I don't want to hear nothing about FBS
Hey, man,
Fridays.
listen,
I got Duma on Friday.
hang on.
I can't watch FBS Friday.
Hang on. I never don't answer your questions. Listen, man, I have another live stream at 8:30. We're talking strictly X's and O's on that live stream. Call back tonight at 8:30, man, and I got all your football questions, man. But I gotta try to get to the rest of these callers venting. That way, I can get off and get everything ready for tonight's live stream.
Hold on, I want to vent too.
Okay, go ahead, man. You can vent, but all the football questions, bring them tonight, 8:30.
I got the Blue. Okay, so for one, man, people gotta understand, specifically with the ones who really don't keep up with the SWAC specifically, a lot of things that the fans are going through, including myself, is typical. When you have a 2 championship winning coach back to back lead your program, no fan is gonna feel good about that. Period. So all the reactions that fans are giving, man, that's perfectly normal. They did it with LeBron. They did it with any and everybody else that left their team, when they was in a successful position. Ones want to bring up crime, this, that, and the third. crime was there before Prime got there. Crime gonna be there when he leaves. I'm born and raised in Jackson. I was born in '91. You see, so you can't use that as an excuse. You also can't use that as an excuse. I don't know if y'all already talked about this, but I stepped out for a second. But also what you can't use as an excuse is the money, because he said clearly himself yesterday that it is not about the money. You see, well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe he needs to stop just stop listening to what he's saying. Um, as well as with the facilities and stuff like that. One major thing that Prime brought was the field, the facilities and all that other stuff. That stuff was already in the works anyway. Now gratitude to Prime, for like I say, coming in, doing what he did, and completely turning the whole situation around. Gratitude, just because we don't want him to leave or didn't want him to leave like that, don't mean that we hate him. That's not what that means. People relax. Oh my God, y'all generation now is so soft, you know. But typically in a system for something to be sustainable, Blue, and I've been in a system like that before. I played basketball, but it still translates to football as well. You want to typically have at least about 4 or 5 good years for a system of success to be truly sustainable and you can build off of it. 2 years, that's kind of sketchy. It's kind of sketchy, And my last point, for all the ones that saying be grateful, trust me, man, I can guarantee you, the Jacksonians, the fans, etc., we're all grateful. But we're not just some people that just accept, oh, we get this little win, we grateful, and we ain't got to do nothing else. No, we want to keep winning. We want this thing to keep on going. You see what I'm saying? Any program want they Alabama want their success to keep on going. I can guarantee you, if Nick was to leave and go to Texas A&M or Texas, whatever it may be, I can guarantee they fan base will be pissed off. You see, so with that being said, that's all I got to say, Blue. Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate the call, man. All right. So listen, if we still got slides to go over, I'm gonna take these last few callers. I'm gonna go to Mona 2725 4512 9175 anonymous and then 1112. Again, Timona, you're live. I figured you were gonna call back in after earlier.
Yes, I have to address that woman who called in saying that my daughter goes to HBCU. Her speech, it sounded like a white person saying, I have a black friend. Like, nothing she was saying, I don't even know. I don't even really want to address her, actually, because it was just hogwash. We know that there's crime at all different campuses. There's break-ins everywhere. So I'm just going to move on from that. And I want to address that people are saying that we're ungrateful. We're not ungrateful. We thank Prime for the time that he was here. Everything that he touched prospered as far as small businesses, people who were making clothes. He never had to buy any clothes because everybody was sending it to him. I think the only thing that we're mad about, once again, is just that narrative of I'm building HBCUs. I just want to touch on where to go from here and how do we build off of what Prime built. So we have Instagram with over 280,000 followers. So social media should stay intact. Coach Prime is making a documentary that's going to come out on Amazon Prime, where I guess he documents all the way up until when he goes to Colorado. I would say who's ever in the media department, they need to be documenting where does Jackson State go from when Prime left. Like, you have to keep this thing going. You have to keep the interest going. I would be documenting it as well. 2 SWAC championships, and we also have a celebration bowl to look forward to in 2 weeks. And I also have a question because I'm confused. about all these students that are saying they're jumping in the portal. Do they not have class on Monday? Is the semester over?
No, so I mean,
You
you can
know the
still
semester.
enter the portal and go to your classes. It's just it makes it legal for other teams to recruit you.
Okay. I don't know if I'm a Jackson State football athlete, whether I'm a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and I have an intention to jump in the portal, I would wait until after the Celebration Bowl. Celebration Bowl is another chance for you to. This is pre-prime. We already had to deal with ABC. This is prime time for these student athletes to make plays and win the game without their head coach or without. It looks like Tim Brewster's going to Colorado. It looks like Hart is going. So there's a lot of football coaches that I don't know. We don't know the status of whether or not they're going to be at the Celebration Bowl. It's still like in limbo. But one thing I didn't like that Prime thought that once he agreed to take the Colorado job, that he was going to be the one to announce the interim coach. I don't know. I don't see TC Taylor necessarily as the one that I would put in charge of that. So who do you think the head coach, interim coach, should be for the football team?
Like I've said, I've kind of given my list. I think Willie Taggart and Mike Minter are absolutely candidates. I still think Kevin Sumlin should get an interview.
For us, do they offer these coaches the same type of salary as Coach Prime?
They should. I mean, you got to compare what they. You got to analyze how much money means to them. So, like, there's some candidates that money's going to mean more than the other one, and also you got to look at what they're making. Like with a Mike Minter, you're going to have to offer more than he's making at Campbell. 1,000%. But I can't imagine they're going to offer anything less. It's either going to be the same deal or a little bit more.
Okay, I'm gonna get off the phone. Let other people talk.
Hey, appreciate you, Timona. Thank you for calling in. Let's see. 2725. You're live. 2725. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, Blue? Thanks for having me on your show, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate calling in, man.
As far as this info, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Just turn down your background. You can just talk to me directly on the phone.
Okay. As far as this information that's going on with Deion Sanders. Hello?
Hey, you're good. You can just keep talking. You're fine.
Okay. As far as what's going on with this information with Deion Sanders, an individual has a right to make their own decision based on what's good for them without being judged. That's one. Two, I don't have a dog in this race. But as far as him leaving and going somewhere else, he has a right to. He don't owe an explanation to anyone. The only one he owes an explanation to is the college and his players. As far as like the media and anybody else, he don't owe them nothing. But as far as that, he did the right thing. He went and addressed his players. You don't know what he said to the university because he works for them. And then as far as anything else, he still said in his press conferences in which individuals have select hearing, because I do it myself sometimes. He said he was bringing at least 10 to 12 of his players from Jackson State
to there. So with him making that decision, it's all right with me. And what the others got to understand, if you don't put expectations on people, you won't disappoint yourself. That's all I got for you, Blue.
Hey, appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate you waiting, man.
Yes, sir.
4512, you're live.
Blue, what's the word, baby? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, man. Appreciate you calling in.
All right. No doubt, man. Great show as usual, man. I haven't had a chance to listen the whole time, but I just wanted to share a few of my thoughts and then ask you a question because I feel like nobody's asked you questions. Two things. Two things can be true. I tell Scotty this all the time, and I got hip to you from Scotty. I used to live in Jackson. I'm from Ohio. I'm in Columbus, and you know that's Buckeye Central. You know what I mean? And I lived down there back in the early 2000s, and I told my relatives up north when I went down there, I said, man, and I said this back then, I said Jackson State is the HBCU equivalent of Ohio State, right? You have the number one attendance. You have the biggest stadium. The people are fanatical about their Tigers, and the people love Jackson State University football. You know what I mean? You could just look at the tailgate. I went to the Southern game this year, the first matchup when they played them last month, and it was amazing to see because I hadn't been to a game in years since I was living down there. It was amazing to see the love and the camaraderie and the joy that this football team and the program brought to the city. But what makes HBCU football and Jackson State football a little bit different is because this is all they have. People in Columbus can be invested in Ohio State. They can watch the Bengals. They can watch Cleveland. They can watch the Cavs. They can watch a plethora of teams right here in their city and in their state that, you know, that can fulfill their sports Jones until football season comes back around. The people of Mississippi don't have that, especially in Jackson. That the Tigers are their professional team. And here's something that a lot of people aren't saying. As sad as a lot of the people are, there's a lot of Jackson State fans, and I would say the old guard, those 50 and 60 and over crowd, they're happy that Deion's going because I have relatives that work for the university, that's around the university. They didn't like the way he was changing culture. A lot of the old heads like things to remain the same. They hated the uniform colors. They said, we don't wear gray. They hated the all black uniforms. So a lot of those people are happy. But to the people that are upset, you have a right to feel upset. You have a right to be a little let down. But you have to know that Deion was not going to be there forever. No, the days of the Eddie Robinsons are not going to happen. The Bobby Bowtons of the world, they're not going to stay at the school 30, 40 years. It just doesn't happen. I at least thought he would stay 4. Then once the daughter came, I said he might give him an extra year. And once your daughter goes to the league, give him an extra year. And then when she leaves, he'll go back and pursue a Power 5. But Jackson State family, and I consider myself family because I live down there. I went to Mississippi every summer. Be smart enough to realize that you guys just had a good thing. And you don't want to be so distraught to where you make it bad for the next coach that may consider coming there. It's like, well, if I leave, are they going to treat me this way? Blue, you gave out 2 great names. Mentor is a great name. I like Willie Taggart a lot because I heard Bethune-Cookman was looking at him, and I think that Jackson will be a more enticing job for him because of, you know, the fact that the cover won't be as bare there as it is in Bethune. But I like him. But one thing that Deion said yesterday when he addressed the team that I did like, I like the fact that he endorsed T.C. Taylor for after the Celebration Bowl because he's a Jackson guy. He's from there. He's an alum. He played there. And he knows the kids. He knows the culture. And a lot of the old guard like him. A lot of the old guard wanted him to get the job over Deion in the first place. So you can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I must say that Deion did some things wrong. Not addressing the media after the SWAC championship was bad. You know, you could tell them I'm not going to answer no other job questions, but still address the media, congratulate your team. You know, the fact that he's going to be the coach of Colorado and the coach of Jackson State for the next 2 weeks, I didn't like that. I thought it would have been a way that they could have negotiated for him to do his press conference and make everything super official after the Celebration Bowl. That way things aren't in limbo. But you can't, and the man told you, if he had a Power 5 offer, he was going to entertain it, right? We also know that he tried to get the Florida State job before he got there. So we knew that he had aspirations for things better than HBCU and Jackson State in particular. And we thank him for that, and we move forward. Now, here's my question for you, Blue. I don't know if anybody asked this earlier, but he mentioned it in his press conference, and I had word that Shiloh, because I was wondering, Shiloh has always been my favorite Sanders, because my wife used to have me watching their family show on the OWN network back in the day when they were little kids. He's always been the person to go left when everybody goes right, and I just love the way his mind works sometimes. But I noticed he wasn't playing. I'm like, well, at the halftime, they reported that some of the kids had the flu, and that's why Travis came out. I was like, well, maybe he's sick. But from what I heard, he was suspended. I guess, I don't know if he broke curfew, or some people were saying that he got into it with Prime and that he didn't want to leave. He wants to stay there. He doesn't like what his dad and his brother is doing by leaving. So he didn't play. And then he didn't go to Colorado with his dad and his sister. We've seen that, with the footage. Do you have any word on Shiloh? And then he even posted last night, should I stay or should I leave? And then I'm also seeing where he unfollowed his brother and his dad on social media. Do you have any word on Shiloh? Because if he stays at Jackson State, I think that'll be great for him. He's scheduled to graduate. I have a cousin that teaches there. He's scheduled to graduate in May. But I think that will be great for the morale of the team as well as the campus and the city. But do you have anything about what Shiloh may be planning to do? Because Deion even addressed it in his press conference. He said, I have the safety that might be coming. So do you have anything on that?
I do know Travis got hurt midway through the game. That's why he didn't come back.
Okay.
It was on the play. I think he gave up the big play where the guy kind of mossed him. He came down awkward on his ankle, and that high ankle sprain kind of got re-aggravated. That's what I was at least told on the sidelines, is that Travis got hurt and he got undressed after that play, but he just re-aggravated an injury. Now, I did hear Shiloh was suspended for the game, and I have heard that he's not super happy about the decision.
Right.
I have to imagine, man, for me, just from what I know, has been like, man, your son isn't at your introductory press conference. Like, I don't care what he did, but you didn't bring him to your intro press conference and addressed it.
Yeah.
And said he was in the doghouse and that's why he went there.
Right.
I can't speak to nothing, but I mean, that is brutal. And I think out of all the kids, because Shador has always been with Prime, but Shiloh wasn't afraid to go to South Carolina by himself, and he's kind of been like a lone, in his own lane. And I do say, I said it on the roundtable. I told y'all before Prime ever even took the job that I thought Shiloh could stay at Jackson State because he really and truly embodied that.
He in love. You did say that.
Yeah, I just think.
Here's another thing: when not to cut you off, but when Deion and their mom divorced, he left Deion and Shador and went and stayed with his mom and went to another school and balled out that year before he came back to Trinity for his senior year. So he's always, like I said, been that child to go left when everybody goes right, and he thinks for himself, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? I like that about him, and I feel like you said, he fell in love with the campus, and if anybody should be upset, it should be him. His car got broken into. But when you watch the footage, he was laughing. He thought it was funny. He's like, man, this person that broke in my car was brilliant. They broke the glass and didn't even break it. Like, he thought it was funny. I used to live in Jackson for 3 years. And yes, crime is an issue. And to that lady that called in, you have to get out of your box and come into the real world. When you look at a map and look at HBCUs, the vast majority of them are in urban areas. That's because it was set up that way by design. So a lot of them is going to be, infested with crime. And where poor people are at, there's going to be a high volume of crime. But you can still go to a PWI. You see what happened at, at Virginia Tech, where you had shooters and things of that nature. So I don't like when people try to paint HBCUs in the negative light with crime because because of the location that they are in these inner city cities. So I just didn't like that. And I'm glad you stopped her and told her that, she said they can't go to the NFL. Like, that's crazy. You know how many Hall of Famers Jackson State has, and Grambling and South Carolina State? Like, you sound foolish. And James Houston had 2 sacks last week and a fumble, and he had another sack today. We almost thought he hurt Trevor Lawrence. If y'all see that play, Thank God Trevor Lawrence wasn't brutally hurt. So yeah, man, I'm glad you addressed that. And thanks for doing this, Blue. And to my Jackson family, hold y'all head up, man. Y'all gonna be all right. Y'all will bounce back, and everything will be all right. You enjoy what has happened and what can potentially happen. Y'all might win again. We all know Blue been telling y'all this forever. Quarterback play wins in the SWAC. If Willie Taggart or anybody that becomes the coach gets another solid quarterback with some of the pieces that you guys are keeping, you'll be right there in the hunt again. Because if Willie Simmons leaves, then Florida A&M is going to be going through the same thing. So you guys will be all right. Hold your head and keep doing your thing, Blue. Appreciate you, and great show as usual, brother.
Appreciate you, my man.
Yes, sir.
9175, you're live.
Peace, Blue. How you doing, bro?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, first of all, Blue, I appreciate you, man, because you are a consummate professional. Let me say that. There are a lot of people that have these channels, but what I want to say is you really take your time and do due diligence on your journalism aspect, and I commend you for that. You know what I mean? Anybody that is at the top of their game and what they do, I appreciate that, and I salute you for that, bro. Let me
appreciate you, man.
Getting to this issue right here, right? I am not going to take up a whole lot of time because I know you got things you got to get to, and it's already been some long-winded people on here. I wish I could have called earlier, but I'm going to try to, as quick as I can, get to this and get this off my chest because I think a lot of things is Jackson State is a nice place. It's a good place. You know what I'm saying? They've been through a lot. Let me say that. They had a legacy before Coach Prime. You know what I mean? Which is well documented. 4 Hall of Famers, and they won SWAC championships. And so they had a good foundation before it got there. And they have a stadium that became their stadium because the city of the state of Mississippi decided to have the vet in case something happened to Ole Miss at their stadium or Mississippi State or whatever. So this is why the stadium is able to hold the capacity that it had. And then it came into the hands of Jackson State. So they got the benefit of what was intended for a Power 5 school. And they made use out of it, you know what I'm saying, by it being the most well-attended in the HBCU space, especially in the SWAC space. Okay. So these are all things to be excited about and overjoyed about if you root for JSU, and I root for JSU. I'm not from Jackson State or anything like that, but I did go to one of the homecomings because I was excited when Coach Prime got the job. And so we have to get out of this mentality of a one-man savior. Coach Prime is a human being. And he's a fascinating human being. You know what I mean? He's an iconic figure. You know, it's not many walking around here like that. We have one of the last impactful living legends amongst us right now. But he's a human being. Okay? So now, given that statement, you take what you take that he has given. If he made all these big speeches and did all this talk and he came to Jackson State and he didn't produce any results, I mean, like he flopped. There were no wins, and we spent all this money by getting Coach Prime, and it was all this rah-rah, you know what I'm saying? Then it would have been a complete circus. But strip down all the mysticism and fanaticism that you want to have and look at what he was able to do with what he with what is within his control. To level the playing field of an HBCU to a PWI is not going to happen by one person, by one man. So that is delusions of grandeur, first of all. So you have to take the soundbite as making an impact. And you have to look at, did Coach Prime make that impact? Never in the history of HBCU has a number one player come and bypass a Power 5 to go to an HBCU school, the number one overall in the whole nation. Okay, so this is a precedent. And this will forever be tied to the history of Jackson State, even though it was because of Coach Prime. So when Coach Prime leaves, this does not leave the legacy of Jackson State. So you have to commend him for that. Also, you have to look at leveling the playing field. You look at what happened to FAMU with this administrative debacle. And these children that have nothing to do with that were punished. And this was not their doing. You understand what I'm saying? And then you have like all of these issues with misappropriation of funds, and you know, they're only limited to certain scholarships, whereas PWIs get more scholarships and things of this nature. So this is a monumental task that is beyond the scope of one individual. So now you can't be like, oh, well, he promised to, you know, come on, calm down. Calm down, relax.
Hey, man,
I
I
know one
appreciate you
person is
calling
going to be
in.
able to do all that.
I
I'm
appreciate
sorry,
you,
what
man.
you
Thank
said,
you.
Blue?
Oh, I just said I appreciate you for calling in, man.
Absolutely. So thank you for taking the call, Blue. And people appreciate Coach Prime for what he did. And I'm out.
9304, you're live. Nine 304, you're live.
Hey, but
What's good, man? You're
hey,
live.
Blue, how you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, how
Hey,
you doing today, Blue?
hey, not bad, man. Hey, just talk to me in the
My
phone
name is.
and turn down your background.
Yeah, okay. I'm calling from Pennsylvania, and I wanted to say three things I wanted to kind of touch on. And one of the things is why he came. He came to okay, I got you. I see what you're saying. And to me, he got there. Everybody's talking about the promises and things that he made. Okay. I think that he came there like any other coach to build his resume, to build his credentials, to also make an impact on the HBCU, which he did these things. We can already surmise some other reasons why he came, but I think for the most part, it was about the kids. And him coming there was about them. You know, why he was there. Look at the things he did while he was there. He bought #1 recruit since 4-star, 5-star. He got a whole building reconstructed out of his own pocket. I mean, he did these things. He bought ESPN. He bought in the television. He bought in sponsors. He bought in all these things that, you know, they wasn't able to get before he got there. Now they're able to keep those things, you know, once he leaves. I believe that now that he's leaving, I have some close friends that I talked to, and they said, you know, he gave him 3 or 4 years to try to get some things together on the HBC side, and they wasn't able to get it together. And I think probably one of those things were money, was the sponsorships and the things like that, because people have to understand about Coach Prime. He still has people over his head, you know. It's not like he's the top guy. So we have to remember that when dealing with this situation. Coach Prime still has people he has to answer to too up there. I believe now that he's leaving, yes, he's probably going to take Shador. He's probably going to take Travis Hunter. Now Shiloh, I agree with the guy that just was talking beforehand. Shiloh is that type of guy that usually goes left when everybody else goes right. Okay. And I think, like you said, even when the divorce thing and all that, he went to go live with his mother instead of his dad. And I can kind of see why Shiloh probably is a little upset, because he just left South Carolina and came here.
He wasn't probably expecting to leave here and go somewhere else. He probably was looking to stay here until he graduated. But it didn't happen that way. Now, will he go to Colorado? Yeah, he'll be in Colorado. I just don't think that he's not gonna not go with his father. He's upset, he's mad, but he's gonna take the trip. I think he's gonna take advantage
Hey,
of that.
hey, that's fair, man. Hey, I appreciate you calling in.
Get in line.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I look at that.
Hey, appreciate your take, man. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You have a good day.
You too. Anonymous, you're live. I can't see your number, so I just got to call you anonymous.
No, it's all good. It's Musa calling back.
Okay, what's up, man?
Yeah, so all right, so I'm just set my credentials. I'm a Temple University graduate. I played there for 3 years. Started my career at Grambling State. So even though I have more of an attachment to Grambling State, so I just want to I didn't hear the last few calls, but I just want to set the table like generally. Can people stop saying one that we expected Prime to stay forever? Why is it always either or? It's not he only stays a year or he's going to stay forever. It's like, no, there's called a happy medium. An average college coach that has a winning record, not a losing coach, they typically stay between 3 to 5 years. That's just on average. And depending on if it's an already winning program or top program. So it's not saying after 2 years, well, we complaining, would you expect them to stay forever? No, it's just if you're winning, you want to kind of see it play out, at least until Shadori graduated. The other thing, why do people keep saying it's a savior's complex? What the hell is that? I've never heard that before. I've never heard no other university get critiqued for taking a top, highly touted coach, whether they were a celebrity coach or not. When Nick Saban went from LSU to Alabama, people didn't call them a savior's complex. So what the hell is that about? You know what I mean? There's always a different lens when it comes to black people. And it's not even other races doing it. It's black people saying this shit. Everybody's so critical. It's like there's nothing wrong with being happy and feeling good about something when you got a good thing going. It's a human emotion. And the other thing, people are acting like HBCUs were never nothing before Deion. Is like, oh, well, he helped the university. Yo. He did everything. It's like even when he was here, I don't call him much, but I remember calling Scotty and I was explaining to people, he's only one man. Deion did everything he was supposed to. He's one of the biggest NFL legends, and he comes to university. Any situation he's going to bring light to it is just the fact that he has the personality to go along with it. And funny enough, I played against Jackson, but I never, like I was thinking about, before he came, I'm like, I was imagining if he came to Grambling. And I'll be honest with you, I was like, it didn't really fit in my head. I'm like, I don't really, because Grambling is very like conservative and, by the book, they old school, they very formulated. It's like a Notre Dame type situation. But when I said Jackson, that school fits his personality so freaking well. So, and if you look at the photos of him getting off that jet, he don't even, it's something I know in his gut, he could sit here and smile and, say all the right stuff, but in his gut, he's not going to find that feeling that he had at Jackson. I think that was like lightning in the bottle. It's not going to happen again. The other thing, people can critique and it's not hating. I'm not talking about the people that's online and they might be saying, yeah, I hope his his break is of a footer. And, you see some crazy, some extremities, but most people are just saying, yo, I'm upset. I wanted to see it play out, but best of luck to you. What can we do? The ship has sailed. Like it's spilled milk at this point. Nobody's crying and saying, oh, we hate you, come back. It's not like a bitter ex-girlfriend. It's just a situation of looking at the horizon like, okay. And this is how I looked at it. When people say, yeah, it's the highest level or, he did everything he could have done. No, that's not true. Because I remember you and other professionals talking about his breaking down his contract. I believe it was something there about FBS. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so you were saying something, Blue?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
Okay, but yeah, I'm gonna finish up. The last thing I'm gonna say is there was something I believe that said if he takes, like any other program, if you take it to FBS, then you can possibly have more bonuses. Which I absolutely, if he decided that he wanted to do that, and everybody says, "Oh, there's no funding. How are you going to get the budget?" How the hell else do other universities get it? Why is it such a this grandiose? It never can be done from an HBCU when he just had P. Diddy on BET pledging $1 million unprovoked. You can't tell me that Deion can't get the funding for that. That's BS. People do what they want to do, and there's a difference between what you can do and what you should do. That's two different things. Nobody said he can't. He's a free man in America. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He can quit and never coach football again. But the difference between what you should do and what you can do, you don't always have to do what's expected. But it would have been nice to see it play out. Or if he would have, by the time Shador graduated, or maybe 1 year after, I said, take a shot. Look, you ain't going to never have another Deion. Go for FBS because the money is going to follow. It's going to follow. And if he would have handed it off to the next coach, whatever happens after that, you can't be mad. So I just had a bigger vision of what was possible, and then the money would have flowed. And can you imagine the first HBCU or FBS? You know how much money that's going to bring by itself globally? So I'm punching out. I just wanted to bring some realization to people. Like, stop being so critical. Thanks, Blue.
Hey, appreciate you, man. All right, I'm going to end on this call. That was the last call. Listen, if you're on the call line,
Goodbye.
I have another call-in show at 8:30, and I'll dedicate a little bit of time for y'all. But I got slides. I got breaking news. So the official Colorado Deion contract has been released. So y'all are getting this here first, unless y'all have already seen it. Deion Sanders' deal with Colorado is 5 years, $29.5 million. That's an average of about $5.9 million per year. He'll make $5.5 million in the first year with raises of $200,000 every year moving forward. He is the highest paid coach in Colorado history. Previously, Carl Durrell was the highest paid coach with $3.6 million per year. So he's making almost double of what the highest paid coach in Colorado history is. And the buyout clauses for Prime are Deion would owe Colorado $15 million if he left after the first year, $10 million if he leaves after year 2, $8 million if he leaves in the third year, and then $5 million if he leaves anytime after that. And if Colorado fires Sanders without any cause, the school will owe him 75% of whatever his remaining contract is. Now, for the assistant pool, Colorado has given Deion Sanders $5 million for his assistant coach salary pool, and it's the highest ever in Colorado history. The former one was roughly about $4 million. So that is the contract, according to Brian Howell, who is the beat writer for the Buff Zone and the Boulder Daily Camera. So that is the contract. Just so you guys know, listen, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of support too. But man, just to kind of go through the slides a little bit. Deion Sanders to Colorado. So Colorado this year was 1-11. They were ranked last in the entire country in points per game allowed. Colorado allowed almost 45 points per game, and they ranked last in the country in points per game differential, losing by about 29.1 points per game this year. Everyone knows what he's done. Jackson State head coach, 2-time SWAC champion, 27-5 over 3 seasons, 19-2 overall SWAC record, and is 16-0 in the last 2 seasons in the SWAC, and has back-to-back number 1 ranked FCS recruiting classes, and at this point was going to have the second highest rated class of the year, right behind Campbell. Now, what the rebuild potentially looks like, the last conference championship was 0-1, only 1 division title in the Pac-12, was 2016. The last bowl win was in 2004. The last bowl appearance was in 2020. You look at their recruiting, they've never been in the top 35 in the past 5 years, and they have not landed a 5-star any of those years, with their highest rated recruit being a 4-star JUCO player and a top 175 player in Clayton back in the 2020 class. So he has the opportunity to do huge things in terms of recruiting at Colorado, and the rebuild is going to be huge because they really have not they really have not been competitive in the past so many years. Now, his first hire was Nick Williams as the defensive line coach. He's a former University of Georgia defensive back / hybrid linebacker. He was a defensive analyst most recently at Texas A&M, and also worked under Kirby Smart at Georgia as a defensive analyst as well. Some of the recruits that he's been a key recruiter in, 5-star Keely Ringo from Georgia, 5-star Walter Nolan, who went to A&M, was the #1 player in the country according to ESPN, and also 4-star Lewis Seen from Georgia, who was a first-round pick this year at defensive back for Georgia. So he's a major upward comer on the coaching circuit and has been killing it and just recruiting. And so he's very relatable. Walter Nolan's family said that he was one of the main reasons he committed to Texas A&M, and the relationships that he's been forming uh, with recruits' families and really flexing as much on the recruiting trail is what made him such a hot commodity. So he will be the defensive line coach at Colorado under Coach Prime. And now the final slide's me just kind of being petty. But if everyone remembers what the storyline was this offseason and how much publicity this got, I just want to show y'all Colorado's week 1 opening game in 2024. So that's not this upcoming year. That's 2 years from now, Shador's senior year. North Dakota State will be coming to Boulder for a season opening game. Shador's senior year in 2024, after all the offseason talk about Jackson State versus North Dakota State and what would Prime's team do against North Dakota State, and what can North Dakota State win on the road. We're going to find out. North Dakota State travels to Colorado, year 2 of Deion Sanders in Boulder, and I'm so excited for this game. I'm so excited for this game. You have no idea. Sam Herder was the one to bring it to my attention. We're going to find out. We're going to find out about program building and what's going on. This is going to be a very interesting opening game, man. Colorado versus North Dakota State coming up in 2 years, man. Season opener 2024, man. They better put that on ABC prime time, to say the least. I just want to know. I want to know who Jackson State fans are going to be rooting for in that one, because it is going to be hilarious. He said, bro. Man, I just had to bring some. I had to bring some humor at the end of the episode after some of the calls. Man, everyone was talking about how sad it was. Man, I had to bring it full circle. We're finally going to see Deion Sanders versus North Dakota State, man, and it's going to be year 2 of Prime, so no excuses on building programs, man. And Be Fresh, I disagree. Look at the chat. There's definitely going to be people who care, and they're already talking about it. But man, listen, I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We went 3 hours on this live stream. I'm gonna have another live stream at 8:30, man. 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I gotta go do some work for On3, man, and I gotta eat and do some stuff like that. But I'm gonna talk about the SWAC championship recap, talk about my experience in Jackson, and also talk a little bit about the second round of the FCS playoffs, man. So tune back in at 8:30. And anyone I didn't get to on the call line, I think we had about 2 or 3 callers left. Call in tonight at 8:30. Man, I'll get to y'all's questions, and I'm sure we're still going to be talking about Prime to Colorado tonight at 8:30, man. But until then, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Plenty of content coming on the way. Stay tuned. But until next time, guys, the Blue Bloods are out.